Oh, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
I'm so simple. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. It's like, "Durr." Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Good afternoon, y'all. What's a happening?
Hey.
What's a happening? How is everybody? 79 comments already. Good
How many of you
morning.
started watching Scandal yesterday?
I didn't yet. I'm trying today. Today, if you want to start watching with me, not like you do,
You
not
have
like
to
you want to,
binge.
but yeah, but
You're
we
not
could
going to want to stop
we
watching it.
could do it together. Beautiful people out there, we can do it together. I think also I'm going to have a camera on my house construction and I'm going to let people see the time lapse of it. I think it's going to be interesting. Digging up a whole area.
We can check in live,
We
can't
could
we?
we could do anything. Plus, I have a Ring doorbell. I could scare the shit out of the people working. Be like, "What are you doing?" And
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Ah!"
Get off my lawn.
How's everybody? It's great to be with you. Kind of in the clouds today. Kind of have been for a while. I hate when I know that I am. I hate when I know that I don't know. We went to the hockey game last night. It sucked. Penguins looked
Ugh,
terrible.
thank God I
The
had two
crowd,
beers. It
the
numbed it.
crowd was great until everything sucked, which was quick. Uh, you could just tell. Just a bummer. And I wasn't there. I literally I got up and I walked around the entire place all by myself. I don't know if I saw anybody. I don't think I talked to anybody. I don't even know what I was doing, just kind of wandering. I hate that. I hate
She didn't
that.
stop and buy me anything.
No, but I did drop $600 in Penn's gear. Well, I buy each boy one penguin something from there every Christmas. So I presume this is my time to go. And so I got her done. And then like a dork, I'm the one who walked around with it all night.
Did
God
they
forbid
see?
any of my no, no, they didn't even ask. Look, I'm invisible. I'm not so sure my children see me. I sift in and out of their lives, and they're like, "What was that? What was that wind?"
I liked those jerseys last night. They were the yellow ones, the
Mhm.
all yellow. I thought they were nice.
Yeah, you know the ones that I gave your mother-in-law to see if she could fix the tacky name
Yeah.
stitched on the back. Everybody had that, and they were all falling off, and it's
She,
terrible.
she
Super cheap.
Kate told me that she's gonna call you with a solution and to make sure everything's okay.
I'm like, pal, you're the
Oh,
pro.
she looked it up. She's like, "Oh, this patch is made in this country, and the jersey's made in this
Because they're
country."
two
And
different colors. I'm like,
yeah,
why would you have a cream colored jersey if you're going to have like an ecru colored name thing? I'm like, it totally
well,
clashes.
here's
Why
the
would you do
thing.
that?
To be honest with you, you don't really see it until someone points it out,
And
and
I
then you
did.
can't
And then you
not
can't
see it.
not see it. You're like,
You're
they're
like, "Oh
all
my
bad.
gosh, yeah." You're like, Get rid of it."
Welcome to my first world problems, right?
You're right.
Okay, I bought a jersey and the name isn't the same color.
Well, when you spend that much
I
money, because
know.
you're authentic, they got the fight
First of
strap.
all, can we talk about the prices at the freaking arena? I mean, there is no way in hell your freaking lousy hamburger is $25.
There's no reason you should spend $200 on a bar tab.
Happy birthday to Brock. We'll have another round
And then close that
and
out.
close it out. Okay, well, I've got very wild hair today. It's all over the place. Whatever, it'll be up in no time. But welcome to the trials and tribulations of me. It's great to be with you. Michael comes home. Toolsy comes home tonight. Worst kept secret ever. Yeah, yeah. There's supposed to be some sort of a surprise until it wasn't.
Who told you? Which one told you?
All of them. They're all like, well, Michael's coming home. And I'm like, oh. It'll loosely be because he wants to see me, but it's really not what it is.
It's
It's
the
because of the
draft.
draft, right? And there's steak and a bed at my house.
He didn't tell me
What? What
that
did
he
you?
was coming back.
Oh, was he supposed to check in with you and make sure
Well,
it was all
no,
right with your
sometimes he'll
calendar?
be like, I'm heading up next weekend," or he'll text me.
It's great to be with you guys. We're going to work it out this whole week. We're going to work it out.
Work what out?
It's me working out whatever the flip is going on in my brain. I wish I could be willfully blind. I want to turn it off.
You say that, but then you're like, no.
I do. No, I do. It would be easier. Because when you don't know, you're just dumb.
You don't know what you don't know.
You just don't know. Yeah, you don't know. And then it's like, and it doesn't matter. But when you know, you don't know, That's when things get crazy.
Oh, I need a map for that sentence.
You need a Venn diagram. Is it Venn or Zen or what is it?
Venn.
What are those things through the telescope? Stars. God, she was an ass. Kamala. Kamala and her fecal fashions.
Ooh. She's ready to be part of UPS.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hey, I know I pound this in every single time when we start the program, but it's so necessary. If you haven't followed us on our website, if you haven't gone and see our merchandise, if you haven't gone and at least followed along the live video stream, see what we look like and what we're all about, I invite you to do that, wendybellradio.com. We share with you the truth and we give you the facts to back it up so you can double check me and make sure I'm telling you the truth. But I do. It's my vow to you. And we're going to share with you 3 hours of common sense conservatism, which I think is very comfortable and makes an awful lot of sense. So if you're ready to be in a place that just feels right, it feels comfortable, get a cup of coffee, a beer, whatever time it is that you're listening, and welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I talked to my dad yesterday. I love talking to my father. I call him Pops. Hey, Pops. I don't know when I started calling him that, maybe 10 years ago. And ever since my mom died a couple years ago, coming up this summer, I've been monitoring him more than I ever did. And he's done a great job. He's 84 years old. He's taking care of himself. He's had a back problem. He had surgery, needed it, and it was successful. And now he's living with less pain, which is dynamite. He still lives in the house that we moved to when I was in high school, the house that he and my mom transformed into this warm garden pool oasis, just beautiful in Calabasas Park, California. It's where I grew up. And I love hearing him. There are friends of his who get in touch with him, business colleagues, people he's sold insurance to or done life insurance or other financial planning for. And he always seems to have something going on. And I'm delighted by that. Because I think it's probably when everything's quiet. Isn't that what they say after a funeral? The hardest part is when all of the family goes back home, right? And you're left alone. I love talking to him, though. He has such a great attitude, positive attitude, such a relief. He could be such a downer. He could be such a drain on my sister and me. And he's anything but. He's a lightning rod of positivity, and I'm grateful. Sometimes I wonder if it's real, but maybe it's his way of surviving. Today is my mom's birthday. And my sister, who lives in Manhattan Beach, California, is driving up to the valley to be with my dad today with her 2 sons who are adults. And then tomorrow, the 4 of them are going to travel up the coast. It's a beautiful drive to a community called Cambria. It's a place my dad and mom went a lot after my sister and I moved out. And there's a beautiful winery, many wineries, but there's one called Opolo. And they've gotten to know the owners of the winery. They've done multiple tastings, and my dad has scheduled this tour so that my nephews can walk the same path that he and my mom did. And then there's going to be dinner at the Lamplighter restaurant right overlooking the sea, where they will have giant calamari steaks and more wine and remember a very special, beautiful woman. And I'm so grateful that my sister is there to do this. And I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. But you know, I've made choices. I decided not to go back home. California wasn't for me. I didn't like it when I was there. There was something different about it. I wanted something else. And so I left. And I never went back. I'm grateful to live in Pittsburgh. I can be around my husband's family, his parents, who I love dearly, his siblings. But for more than twice the age I was when I left home at 18, that's how long I've lived away. And I've missed out on an awful lot. I can't change that. And I'm trying not to make myself feel guilty. But on this day, as I touch my mom's ring on my hand, I know she knows. I know she knows that even though I'm so far away, I loved her so much. You know, it's wild when you have an epiphany or a moment where you walk into another chapter of your life, whether you asked for it or not. There's responsibility that comes with that. And there are a couple of those stories today, the way I'm taking responsibility for the decisions I made, where I lived. I chose not to be there. There are a couple people, though, who've come out recently and they've had their own epiphany. And I think it's a very unusual thing, particularly this one instance, when somebody realizes that what they thought they were supporting or what they thought was important to them, in fact, was not. Or that they somehow along the way, the thing that they cared about changed, either in itself or in their mind. Alan Dershowitz is so interesting to me today to say this to you, as our country is really so weirdly polarized, but it's really not. I really don't think we are. I don't think that if I were to sit down with a liberal woman of my age and I said to her, I'm a conservative woman, I bet you we have a lot in common. There might be some policy things that might be important to her or me that isn't shared to the other. But we all want what's best for our children. We all want safety. We all want opportunity. We all want affordable taxes and a comfortable life. We all want healthy lives and futures that are worth looking forward to. That's not determined by your politics. But for somebody like Alan Dershowitz to write an article in the Wall Street Journal hours ago, and I saw it just before we went on the air, this is a big deal. And it says a lot about the sharp left turn of the Democrat Party. You can't look at this progressive craziness that's going on that invites you, in fact, it insists that everything that you think is normal is now all of a sudden abnormal, wrong, and you need to fundamentally change everything that you've ever thought. That's not what the majority of us are all about. Alan Dershowitz writes in this opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal, Why I'm Becoming a Republican. Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat. He said, I started campaigning for my party's local candidates as a teenager in Brooklyn, New York. I've been a registered Democrat for 67 years, made speeches for JFK as a college student, and can count on one hand the number of Republicans I've ever supported for any office. I still disagree strongly with the GOP on abortion, the separation of church and state, immigration, healthcare, and taxes, among other things. Yet I've decided to bite the bullet and register as a Republican. What? The Democratic Party, Alan Dershowitz writes, has become the most anti-Israel party in U.S. history. Last week, all but 7 Senate Democrats voted for an arms embargo against the Jewish state, and an avowed enemy of Israel, Abdul El-Sayed, is gaining ground in the Democratic campaign for U.S. Senator from Michigan. There's no denying that the hard left anti-Israel wing of the Democratic Party has moved from the fringe to the mainstream. This is where his awakening comes, that change. Until recently, there was an age gap with younger voters more strongly opposing Israel, but recent polls suggest that the trend now includes Democrats of all ages. Republicans have their own anti-Semitic fringe, but for now, it remains a fringe. I believe that the Democratic Party's hostility to Israel represents a deeper and more dangerous shift away from the center and toward a radical approach that is bad for America and it's bad for the free world. So I intend to work hard. Listen to this. He didn't just snap. He snapped and got active. And he's like, look, I intend to work hard to prevent the Democrats from gaining control of the House and Senate. And I urge those who share my concerns about the increasing influence of radicalism in the Democratic Party to vote, campaign, and contribute for continued Republican control of Congress. I will contribute money to Republican candidates. I will campaign for them, make speeches at Republican events, and urge pro-Israel Americans to change party affiliation or at least vote against Democrats. Until something changes, I will vote Republican for representative, senator, and president. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. That is but one person realizing, having an awakening. And I think it's happening all over. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we're going to dip into the archives. It is a video of President Trump, actually before I believe he was sworn in the first time, talking about why. Why was he running? You need to hear this next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. So yesterday, I'm trying to be fair. Yesterday, I ended the show talking about bloodflow7.com/Wendy. That's the landing page for one of my favorite sponsors, Juvenon. Juvenon does the Blood Flow 7, which is phenomenal. Alpha Gold Male for men, because it's all about testosterone for you gentlemen. But this one I want to tell you about is the GLP-1 Gold. If you have significant weight to lose, if you are trying, right, you don't want to get the shots for your own reason, but you plateau and you're getting frustrated, might I please suggest that you get, for 30% off, get a month's supply of GLP-1 Gold. It's like $1 a day, if it's even that. This is what it looks like. It's from Juvenon. And this is an absolute game changer when it comes to diet, weight, health, all of it. Significant weight loss here. If you only have 5 pounds to lose, probably not your jam. You need help on the long haul with the big prize? Juvenon. GLP-1 Gold. Go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Everything there. 30% off. That's how much they love us. I have not used it. I'll let you know if you'll let me know if I get Fatty Boboletti, and you'll be like, it's time you gotta start taking that. And I will.
I'm gonna have to play that Trump from the bottom, not like full screen. I'll get it to full screen eventually.
Oh no, I don't
Because-
need to be seen.
No, I know, but it's it comes out of its stereo, so I had to change it in the radio format.
Oh, okay.
So I want them to be able to hear it without it coming out of just one speaker.
Understood. However you need to do it is great with me. Anyway, so like whatever your Shazam is getting hit in the face right now about stuff, it's like, oh man, it'd be great to be blind to all of this. Just be like, dur. But I'm so envious. And I texted my sister and I said, I'm so jealous. Have a great time. Why isn't it ever easy? I don't know. Okay. Beautiful people. All right. If I don't have 1.5 rumbles right now, I'm going to go on strike. Ew. We need 100.
Strike it is.
We need 190 little thumbs up button clickers right here underneath the video box.
Maybe I'll just play the video so
just-
they can't hear it. Protest.
Wow. On the Wall Street Journal's opinion piece saying he's changing. He's going to become a Republican. He didn't tempt with the toe in the libertarian pond. He's like, no, I want to vote for the party that I believe is going to stop this radical fringe Democrat party. He says, I wish I could designate myself as a foreign policy Republican. But there's no such option. So I have to go whole hog by registering as a Republican rather than an independent, Maybe I can have some influence on moving some Republican policies toward the center. I've given up trying to change the Democratic Party. My main goal is to send a message that many traditional Democratic voters can't accept what it is becoming, a replica of a left-wing European party that is hurting its country. What? Americans generally tend toward political moderation, but both parties have become more extreme in part due to low turnout primaries that attract passionate ideologues. Younger voters who tend to be more extreme are playing a more active role in politics. They may moderate as they get older, but the trend among Democrats is unmistakable, a hard left turn that is most evident in changing attitudes towards Israel. If the Democrats pay a heavy electoral price, perhaps they'll wise up and move back to the center where I and others could rejoin it. I don't know if that is a realistic possibility, but it's worth a try. This is such a big deal. I cannot underscore. It's like Sean Hannity last week announcing that he's not Catholic anymore. He's like, I can't support the Catholic Church. I'm a Christian, but I'm not Catholic anymore. I can't deal with the corruption of the Catholic Church. This is where people are awakening. Now, I want you to hear President Trump. It had to be when he just won 2016, okay? It has to be because he's got a Trump pen sign in front of him. And he's the same guy 10 years ago with the same mission, the same values, the same strategy. He has not changed. I have. This guy is a brick wall. Here's President Trump 10 years ago.
In my former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew what it's like, and I still know what it's like to be an insider. It's not bad. Not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again. Many of my friends and many political experts warned me that this campaign would be a journey to hell. Said that. But they're wrong. It will be a journey to heaven because we will help so many people that are so desperately in need of help. Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt, and when I say corrupt, I'm talking about totally corrupt, political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. Believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. The corrupt political establishment is a machine. It has no soul. I knew these false attacks would come. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. We are going to have a policy, America first.
He has been unwavering, and he knew darn well what he was walking into. But that one moment when he ran and hugged the American flag and kissed it, that all day long. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, Iran thinks this is a game of endurance, but the United States military says not so fast. What's going on in Iran? The peace deal, all of it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So I want to play something or show something to you. I think Brock has it because it's got magnesium in it. Healthy Cell, our sponsor, healthycell.com/Wendy, has created a really innovative and simple way to get great nutrients and supplements into our systems without swallowing pills or capsules. And it's to give it to you in a little gel form. So you take off the thing and suck in the gel, swallow it, and you are good as gold. They have a new one called Bone Strength. And this product is pretty important. This is huge for people like me. I'm at risk for osteoporosis. And certainly as we age, the density of our bone strength, et cetera, it changes. This is something to help you. A not so fun fact. Women start losing bone density gradually about age 30, but it significantly accelerates during perimenopause and also menopause, typically 40s to 50s, due to plummeting estrogen levels, which are pretty critical for bone maintenance, okay? So up to 20% you could lose in your first year of menopause, of bone density, which is just freaky. Healthy Cell just launched this new product, Bone Strength. It's a gel supplement that has calcium, of course, also several other vitamins and minerals that are key to maintaining strong bones, including vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, zinc, and more, all in one gel pack. Here's what's great about it. It replaces 12 pills worth of supplements and has a delicious tropical flavor. It's so much better than those chalky gummies and the calcium chews. Everything that you need in one easy to slurp in microgel. Healthycell.com/Wendy. And again, this is the one called Bone Strength. I think it's pretty important. And they're all over it. Must be nice, Brock. You guys hit 1.5 for me. I love it. Thank you. So I'm excited. We're getting our new roof on Friday. I got to go to Ireland contracting. Let me tell you about this. This is what's neat. Now, certainly the people who work at Ireland Contracting, our home exterior renovation expert sponsor, certainly they know who I am, right? I mean, I've been around in Pittsburgh forever and they would know me. But it's just such a calm environment. When you find out you need a new roof, it's never a good time. It's never the right price. It's never anything. You don't have a choice. You've got to get it done or else you ruin your house. So how easy it is. The detail of what they're going to do, it's step by step. It's this and this and this and this and this, and then we'll redo that. La, 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 and then the net will, and I was like, holy Moses. And then, of course, the thing that I hear from everybody, and I'm going to be watching and I'm going to report back to you, is apparently these guys clean up everything. There's not a nail for your dog to find. It's beautiful. Picked out the shingle color. It's not bourbon or midnight plum. Doesn't go with the color of my house. So, but I was excited, and they're wonderful people to deal with. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. If you have to get a home exterior project rolling, the thing I like about Ireland is they get you in their schedule and they come out and they give you an estimate. They don't charge you for it. And it's good for a year, I think. Pretty big. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. IrelandContracting.com.
Or 4 days.
What?
In your case.
Yeah.
You said it's good for a year. I said, or 4 days.
Here, I'll show you. Let's see.
You can really only go with the one on the left.
Yeah. All right. So you can't really tell, but that's like.
Zoom in.
Well, that's just what the side patio looks like. And then those are the two shingle colors. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah. And the one on the right is too brown for the gray doors. And so the brown one or the gray one on the left is going to be it.
Yeah.
It's really the only option. Yeah. It just doesn't look right. So the other one we're going to do, and the lady, you know what you love? You walk into a place. She's like, did you take pictures of your house? I'm like, I did. Here's this, here's this, here's that. She's like, all right, zip, 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 puts it down. She's like, I don't think so. Blah, blah, blah. This one does blah, blah, blah. I think you're going to like these two. And then Diane Ireland texts me on my way home. She's like, what did you get? I'm like, I don't know. She's all geeked out over freaking roofing tiles. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's her
whatever.
jam.
I know. Then I sent a pic. I told her what it was. And she's like, oh, that's not on my house. That's what I have on my house. I'm like, all right, well, that's what I'm getting. The thing is nobody really sees
Do you
it.
think Gary does his own roof?
No. Mm-mm. Do you?
No.
Right? Do you think Paul mops the floor at Stinky's?
No.
No. Mm-mm.
Val probably does. She does everything else.
Val's a badass. Behind every good man is a great woman.
I'm assuming she just tells Paul what to do. Paul.
And it'll be
Just
like,
go
Val,
do
get the
this.
checkbook.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't have to write me a check. It's like, no, we're going to sponsor that baseball team again. I'm like, all right. So Wendy Bell Radio and Stinky's both doing their part. Let's get some, well, we're 2 for 2, right?
Yeah.
We've got champions. Our girls
Thoroughbreds.
are freaking champions. Unlike my illustrious softball career.
Well, you made that one catch.
Exactly. And I was like, can I do it again next year? And my parents were like, no. No. My mom probably was like, don't say that.
This is for earlier.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. What an honor and delight to spend some time with you. So there are all sorts of different things going on X. Tweets about Barack Obama and the pallets of cash. $1.6 billion that he gave to the Iranian mullahs. And apparently now it's come out that he carved out $400 million to then go, I don't know, spread around in terms of 2020 opposition to President Trump. All sorts of things being kicked around. Do you guys believe that we're ever going to know everything? Doubtful. But I believe we're going to know a lot more than we think. And for this president to be the one guy, the one individual who's willing to once and for all fulfill that promise he made 10 years ago in the video we just listened to. He's like, we're going to liberate. We're going to make life better for millions of people all around the world. He had a vision 10 years ago. Like a hot second after making the jump from private citizen, real estate tycoon Donald Trump to President Donald J. Trump, 45. He knew. And this is part of the fulfillment of that destiny. And however it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And for anybody out there on the left who belly aches about people getting hurt in this bombing campaign or this war effort of the United States and Israel against Iran, do know that the Iranian people have not been enjoying the finer parts of electricity for a long time. They don't have it. And so any grid issue that gets struck is punitive specifically to the regime. As we know, there's this weird power struggle going on. So will J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner meet in Pakistan with Iran? I don't know what the number is right now, what they're saying, because Iran is saying, no, we're not making a deal. Let's listen to what Trey Yingst says. He's like, look, standard operating procedure for these people, for these radical Shia clerics, is to do exactly what the Democratic Party is doing, exactly what the Democrat members of the Supreme Court are doing right now. Trey doesn't say this, but you'll see the connection. What's the Supreme Court decision on, what are they slow walking, Brock, that needs to come out? It's the Voter Rights Act. There's a big decision coming out, and it's going to go against the Democratic Party. And so the three liberal justices, Kagan, Sotomayor, and what's-her-face, Jackson, they're going to slow walk their, I guess, dissent so that it's harder in 2026 in November for states to start changing some of the election stuff so we can depend on it more, right? So we have more confidence. It's exactly what the mullahs in Iran, this regime, are doing. They are slow walking. They are dragging to, I guess, try to run out the clock or just be confounding. Trump is not like that. And Trey Yingst is like, yeah, ceasefire is going to go up in smoke, and this truce is going to dissipate, and then it's going to be game on. Let's hear what he says.
I spoke with a senior regional intelligence source this morning who indicated Iran sees this as a game of endurance. They believe that time is on their side and that ultimately the domestic pressure when it comes to energy markets and the stock market will force President Trump to make a deal that's in their favor. That is not the truth. That is not the reality. The president and his counterparts in Israel have the ability to continue this operation for months if they need to pressure the Iranian regime to open the Strait of Hormuz and to give up their enriched uranium, something that they've promised to do privately, and then publicly they make these remarks saying they may not even show up to the negotiating table.
Huh. Okay, so you've got a bunch of different conflicting messages. And look, here's the thing that we all have to realize. anything that comes out of Iran is propaganda. And the majority of everything we hear, particularly the bluster on the left, is the same thing. And the media are the mouthpieces that then project that out to the people. The fact of the matter is, there was one man who had the huevos to stand up and say, enough. Iran is moments away, a heartbeat away, from making 10 or 11 nuclear warheads. And then at that point, the entire planet is in danger. They've created this fortress of drones behind which they use as a shield. They've got an entire missile defense system. This is absolutely untenable. And this isn't something that you fix with diplomacy. We're going to bomb the living daylights out of them. Done and done. This is finishing the job. And my suspicion is, in the next 24 hours, I highly doubt anybody rational is going to come to the table. They are not rational people. The leaders are not. And this might have to be the moment where the head is officially finally cut off of the snake, and the Iranian people can emerge from wherever they've been hiding, right? And take back their country. But it's funny. It's hard to do that when you don't have guns. Oh, it's so weird when you look at the Democrats and how much they push you not having access to guns. It's almost like they're projecting the same kind of environment for you and me. Well, they can suck it. Jesse Waters talks about that ship, the Tuska. We played the audio yesterday of them warning it, U.S. Navy. Hey, USS Tuska or whatever, we know who you are and what you're doing, and we're going to bomb you. In this particular area, you probably want to avoid that area because here goes, and then pop, 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 see you later. So you heard what happened as the Marines came in and boarded the vessel, and the United States took ownership of it. Here's Jesse Waters last night talking about this ship. It was from China, trying to get to Iran. And yes, as we reported yesterday, in fact, it was loaded with a bunch of dual-use chemicals known to make ballistic missiles.
Guided missile destroyer, the USS Bronx, blew a hole in her engine room, stopped her cold. Marines choppered in, rappelled onto the deck, and took her over. The president says we have full custody and are seeing what's on board. It's an Iranian cargo ship called the Tuska, almost 1,000 feet long and weighs as much as an aircraft carrier. And it's been under U.S. and European sanctions. It was up to no good. The Tuska was traveling from China. The Washington Post says it was loaded with dual-use chemicals used to manufacture ballistic missiles. Beijing just got caught doing us dirty, and Trump will make them pay.
100%. President Trump's supposed to meet with President Xi sometime next week or next month. I highly doubt that's going to happen. By the way, all of this is an effort by the United States, by this president, obviously, to squeeze China and to squeeze them hard because of everything that they've done to us. From flooding our system with foreign students, all of whom report back to the flippin' CCP, to buying up farmland, stealing intellectual secrets, what have you. And then, of course, your whole birthright citizenship mumbo jumbo, where they come here to populate and bring their people here as well. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Eric Garland is a podcaster. He's got quite a robust following on Twitter. I've never heard of the dude before, but I listened to what he said. And as a strategic intel analyst, sort of as he says, this wasn't just some ship. This wasn't just some Chinese ship trying to make it to Iran, tank up. It's a ship carrying weapons of mass weapons of mass destruction. And he says the ship's logs will tell the story of the routing patterns of ballistic missile components. There's a lot we learned when those Marines got on board.
Breaking news, the U.S. Navy just blew a hole in an Iranian cargo ship and the Marines boarded it. It's a ship that connects to Iran's weapons of mass destruction program. Here's what you need to know. The ship is the Tuska, Iranian flag nearly 900 feet long. According to the president, it tried to run the U.S. naval blockade in the Gulf of Oman today. The USS Spruance gave fair warning. The crew refused, so the Navy shot out the engine room. U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. Trump said, "We're seeing what's on board." I think he knows what might be on board. Most blockade ships you've heard about are Shadow Fleet tankers. They're just smuggling oil. The Tuska is different. It's not sanctioned for moving oil. It's sanctioned under WMD proliferation Regulation Authority. The U.S. government has documented its owners transporting components for Iran's ballistic missile program. The EU sanctioned them because the Revolutionary Guard converts those container ships into drone carriers. Iran shares missile technology with the worst regimes on Earth. Those Iranian missiles hitting U.S. facilities and Israeli cities right now, the short-range ones are upgraded North Korean Scud-Cs. The longer-range ones are derivatives of North Korean No-Dong technology. And in return, since 2013, North Korea has been shipping Iran components for a rocket booster powerful enough to reach the United States. UN experts confirmed transfers as recently as 2020. The logistics vessel for that pipeline, that's who runs the Tuska. So the Marines just grabbed a ship known for trading WMDs right before more peace talks. America apparently isn't going to sit around and pretend that Iran isn't a threat. Trump is bringing this to a turning point. The U.S. is very carefully about to make its case to the world about the danger posed by these regimes. It's going to be a big week. Keep thinking.
And every Democrat out there in Congress who was like, there was no clear and imminent danger, then you know what? You're not fit to serve and you need to be removed from office. Did you hear what that gentleman said? The Tuska was sanctioned by the EU because Iran's Revolutionary Guard converts those containers aboard it, the big shipping containers, into drone carriers. And the chemicals aboard are all about making ballistic missiles. Well, you can imagine that tomorrow night Eastern time, marking the expiration of the 2-week ceasefire in the war between the U.S. and Iran, a bombing apparently is going to continue. It's going to resume if a deal is not reached, according to reports of phone interviews with President Trump. He told Bloomberg that the ceasefire ends Wednesday evening, Washington time, and an extension is highly unlikely if Iran doesn't agree to a deal with the U.S. This would be about 15 days after Trump announced the 2-week ceasefire on April 7th. He also told PBS News Monday that lots of bombs start going off if a deal does not materialize by the deadline. I wonder what he does. Because he has launched these attacks on Iran in the past and also on Maduro before he said he was going to. He alleged that there would be this kind of limbo period where we'll kind of feel each other out. And then it was like bombs away, right? And that's why it was such an effective offensive. This is Jesse Waters coming back to us saying what a ceasefire extension, while it is highly unlikely, the Pentagon does have a new tool in this fight. And I think the Iranian regime is gonna feel it in the next 24 hours.
This, the Pentagon is debuting a whole new technology, lasers. We've been conducting live fire tests aboard the USS Bush. They've been knocking down anything that flies. And the Bush will be in theater at any moment. By Wednesday night, we could see the return of major combat operations. The president says an extension of the ceasefire is very unlikely. The major sticking point is nukes.
970 pounds of 60% highly enriched uranium. What can you do with that?
So that is enough material for, if you enrich it just a little bit more, for 10 to 11 nuclear bombs.
The New York Times reports that American airstrikes, quote, crippled the Iranian nuclear program, and attacks have left their nuclear facilities in ruins, quote unquote.
So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We're now down to the wire, as today's show title illustrates. So I got to ask you this question as we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. Does America want illegal aliens to go home? Not just the criminals, not just those who terrorize our people, but all the other ones too, who've been here for years. Interesting results of a new poll next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, health revolution. This is a big deal. I love when I can feel as though I am protected. I have some level of insurance that if something happens, I'm not going to go broke trying to help myself. And especially when it comes to my health, right? I can't even fathom. I have no idea what our health insurance costs because it's baked into my husband. It's always been through him. I don't know. But I know that Brock pays about $1,000 for he and his wife to have coverage. And I could tell you the one time I've seen him go to the doctor, it was a video teleconference call, right? So it's not like he's getting a huge bang for his buck. Is there a better way? Yes, there is. And our trusted friend, Tom Yakupin from Health Revolution, This is a company that connects you with the right agents to get plans that fit your needs. It's sort of like an a la carte. You get the menu, you determine what you want as your appetizer. Do you want to have a dessert? It's all right there for you. You decide. And the best part of all is that there aren't those huge deductibles or the terrible copays. How about manageable deductibles, no copays, and you get to choose what doctors you see? How about that for a change? If you are on Cobra, if you are self-employed, if you are under the age of 65, if your health insurance is not working for you, info.healthrevolution.net. info.healthrevolution.net. I always prefer talking to somebody, and you can get the party started. Jot it down, 800-868-6187. I think these guys with Health Revolution are on the cusp of something super necessary, specifically after the Affordable Care Act debacle, right? And it's letting you choose what you want. Save 30 to 60% on what you're currently paying. Yeah. 800-868-6187. That's why I'm like, write it down.
Why shouldn't everything be
A la carte, what you want?
TV?
What you
Here's the
need?
package.
I don't want all of your dumbass stations.
Yeah.
And in my car, literally, I go from station to station to station, and I don't care. And the music isn't great, and the chat is not me, so I don't care. Just kidding.
Wow.
Oh, this is getting hot. It's getting hot in here. Sorry.
What were you saying about music not being great?
I know. I'm well aware of that. What's Trump's move right now, Brock? What's the play? What's the surprise move?
If they don't show,
you got to know where these people are.
Yeah.
Take them out.
They only know one thing, and that's crazy. Like, there's no diplomacy.
They've been warned too. Like, if you don't come to the table, we're gonna kill you.
And watch how they.
Not the Iranian people.
Now the Iranian people have said, "Go ahead and hit those electrical plants.
Drop it.
We don't get electric from them.
Bombs away." Because once all of those clowns are dead, then maybe the Iranian people can climb from the rubbish and rubble and rebuild their country. I think.
But Chris Murphy will come tell them what they really should.
What did he say that he's getting fried for? I forget what he was talking about.
He says a bunch of dumb stuff.
Whatever.
Their hypocrisy on literally everything. Trump says bomb Iran. They defend the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Literally, this is where you've come. This is what you've come to.
I disagree with Alan Dershowitz on quite a bit of what he said, by the way. I don't find that there is a fringe group of the Republican Party. I don't believe MAGA is fringe. I think it's mainstream to believe in making your country great again and America first. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, it's so interesting as I consider what's at stake in Iran and what this president is thinking about. Because our government, our military has warned these leaders in Iran, look, if you don't come to the table, we're going to have to kill you. Sorry, there is no option. We will find you, and it will be game over. So which do you prefer? The Iranian regime is willing to use its own people as shields. They've killed thousands upon thousands of them, and they've killed thousands of Americans. You have a president who's like, look, I'm not here to tell the Iranian people who should take over. I'm just saying it's not going to be these clowns, that they're going to be destroyed. And all of their devious, dark plans to, with other dark actors, no. This is our time. We will neutralize you. I wish you Godspeed, Mr. President, because you got a lot to think about. So there's a poll, Breitbart.com, nearly 1/3 of registered voters say all illegal immigrants should be deported. That is a big number. That is a big number. Nearly 1/3 of registered voters say all illegal immigrants in the United States should be deported, a weekly survey from The Economist and YouGov found. The survey first asked respondents, which comes closest to your view about illegal immigrants who are living in the United States? Overall, 43% of registered voters expressed the belief that they should be allowed to stay in the U.S. and eventually apply for citizenship, followed by 40% who said they should be deported. Only 7% said they should be allowed to stay in the U.S. but not become citizens. However, the survey then asked respondents to identify which illegal immigrants they believe should be deported. And nearly 1/3 of the registered voters, 31%, said all illegal immigrants should be deported. You know, I want to sit down with one of these progressives who believes that it's all kumbaya and it's so good. We're all in this together. Welcome, people. Melting pot. Come on in. Anybody from anywhere. Woo. And I want to say, you realize that a significant chunk of your paycheck goes to pay for all of these people, right? It doesn't go to your kids, doesn't go to braces, right? It doesn't go to your travel soccer league. It's not going to a special present for your child, a Steelers jersey for Christmas. You're paying so that people who broke our law to be in this country can get benefits you don't qualify for. Make that make sense to me. And then tell me how I'm the unreasonable one for saying, get out. Get out. This is how I feel about Congress, too. Get out. All of you have failed us. There are some fighters, but by and large, it's a toxic, cancer-ridden body. There is no chemotherapy to zap the tumors, right? A lot of people feel that way about immigration. And isn't it so funny? You have a pope who's like, immigration, immigration, immigration. Really? Dude, don't you live behind a mighty strong brick wall there at Vatican City? A majority of registered voters, 60%, agree that illegal aliens convicted of serious crimes should be removed from the country. 60%. What is wrong with people? This is not a radical statement. Do you believe that the person who went and bashed in your neighbor's head and killed them and then stole everything in their house, do you think they should stay for a while? Or would you like to see that monster deported from this country? Well, I don't know, said the Democrats. What happened to you people? That's what Alan Dershowitz is asking in the Wall Street Journal. What happened to you people? What happened? There are sharp differences in opinion on party lines, as most Republicans, 57%, believe all legal immigrants should be deported. So those who are not citizens. Only 24% of independents and 7% of Democrats agree. I don't understand. What is it going to take? Is it going to take somebody breaking into your house? Is it going to take somebody shooting and killing your daughter? Is it going to take an illegal alien drunk behind the wheel, plowing into your father on the highway, or pulling a Yui on the turnpike and killing your family like that? Like, what's it going to take for the Democrats in this country to see what the hell is going on? I am not radical. I am a realist. And I'm tired of bad policy putting the people I love in danger. Hour 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program. Look, guys, it's Act Blue. Act Blue is total garbage. Illegal foreign donations. It's all coming out next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. This is something that Dr. Gundry says, and I have to admit, now I do take multiple things that I think benefits me very much in terms of my overall vitality, vigor, strength, et cetera, et cetera. And it's improved. And I think it's blood flow 7. I just do. I'm going to say that. However, I will also say that losing weight, getting tons more energy, and returning to the good health you might have had years ago while you were younger, could you get that if you incorporated a powder into your diet. Yeah, you can. And it's called MCT Wellness by Dr. Stephen Gundry, thehealthyfat.com. He's got a video. It's been watched by more than 20 million people. You can watch and learn more about it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. In fact, you have to, if I'm not mistaken, in order to be able to order this. I drink it every single day. And I will tell you that very rarely am I hungry while I'm drinking it or in the 2 to 3 hours after I've had it. And that's huge. You could skip a meal. You could skip a meal easily. Literally, if you're already drinking water, why wouldn't you put a scoop of this in it and get so much help getting over that hump of weight loss? This is for significant weight loss. This is how Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy.
You know who I want to have a conversation with? Someone that's been here for 15, 20 years. Illegally.
Well, why haven't you done it?
Give me a good reason why I should show you compassion.
Well, here's going to be the answer. I didn't feel like I had to.
That's not a good answer.
It's not a good answer.
You should want to.
I agree.
That's not an acceptable answer.
And then these D-bag immigrants who come across, and it's like that guy with a fanned money.
Yeah.
Remember how he did this? And he's
or the
like,
girl goes, "We love our culture.
I'm not interested in adapting to you. I just want to make money." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
I don't understand that. I'm gonna come here, stay my entire life,
and not become a citizen. Okay.
What's the
Then go
point?
back. Then go back from whence you came. I don't know. I don't disagree.
I mean, I don't understand the mentality of it. Like,
well, I think there is a cost. I think there's cost. Let's see.
There's a cost to everything.
I get you. How much? But with their fake CDL, they could make it up on the side. Sure.
Right. A side hustle.
How much does it cost to become a U.S. citizen? Right? I don't know. Do you need a lawyer? Do you need...
They provide all that stuff for you.
Oh. As of 2026, the main cost to become a U.S. citizen is the naturalization filing fee, which ranges from $710 to $760.
Then
what an arbitrary number.
You've had 15 years to save up.
Right.
a dollar a day.
Starbucks.
Yeah. Stopping at Starbucks and
No, I get it. But for a third of people, 31% of everybody to be like everybody.
At this point, it's not fair just because you've been here longer that you get to stay.
I agree.
And we're about fairness.
1.92. Let's get to 2. I need 80 people in the next several minutes. I would be so delighted if you would help me. So Kelly Morgan told us she had a phenomenal 14th birthday celebration for Morgan's Fitness in her Richmond, Pennsylvania, Johnstown area gym. 14 years, all sorts of people came. The news came and did a wonderful story on her. She was delighted. But it's nice to support good, hardworking people who put in the time, think outside the box. And she really had to during COVID, right? People weren't going to the gym. And here's a gym owner who owns 4 of them. And she's like, snap. The Gestapo here in the land before time doesn't want people going to the gym, but you can go to Walmart or go to get porn or what have you. Great. So she was like, fudge this. And she started doing this Ignite 90 program where she was like, look, I can get you online. I can show you the exercises. I can give you links to the videos of people here at Morgan's Fitness doing these exercises. You're going to do these exercises 4 times a day. You're going to walk. You're going to do all this stuff. And in 3 months, you're going to look dramatically different. And the before and after pictures she sent me have been just amazing. You can do it. You can do it. And the thing that's great about Ignite 90 is it's in the safety and privacy of your home if you so choose, if you don't want to go to the gym and do this stuff. So Morgain's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Very proud of our partnership with Ms. Kelly. Oh, I'm still 2 years older than she is. Biatch, what?
Our new computer system, you guys probably haven't noticed, but there's been no interruptions. If there's an interruption,
Does it make my hair look better?
yeah, it's on your side because I just uploaded the first hour or sent it to Michael, and where it used to be like 30 seconds for it to load and 3.
Wow.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but if you guys notice, the camera focuses faster now. Everything's so much faster now, which is nice.
Got this big. So I was working out and a bobby pin flies out of my hair today.
You didn't wear your do-rag?
And Mary Beth was like, "Where'd that come from?" I'm like, "Oh, pal, I've got a lot."
That was from last week.
I've got 11 of them in there. I got 11 in there. So Act Blue, it's almost like we all knew this was the fundraising arm, the money funneling arm of the Democratic Party. Shocker. But we're going to read this to you. Why would you take the 5th? Because you're guilty and you don't want to say you're guilty. Right? Right. Let's see. Did you guys get it? 2,000. I'm super geeked by that.
See, I'm not. I want to see 2.5 by the end of the hour.
By the end of what hour? First hour?
Second hour.
Oh.
2.5?
Yeah. Well, we'll get 500. Right? So distracting. Sorry.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes, and I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. Remember, if you haven't gotten our podcast, this is really easy. We get 3 hours of broadcasting a day, and it gets whittled down to about 40 minutes without all the commercials and chit chat. And then we put them out in 3 segments every single day. And so you can get them wherever you go, wherever you travel, if you have to leave. Wendy Bell Radio, just search for that wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and help us as we inch ever closer to 8 million podcast downloads. So honored. You know, I find that usually people who take the 5th, so they say, you know, I'm not going to say anything because I'm going to incriminate myself and I don't want to do that, right? I'm going to plead the 5th. Usually people who do that are guilty. I'm just going to say that in my mind, right? I plead the 5th. Well, why? Why would you do that? Democrat fundraisers plead the 5th when confronted about foreign funding. So if you have not paid attention to James O'Keefe and his exposés on the smurfing of Act Blue, and this is just what the Biden crime family syndicate did, right? We're going to get multiple family members. We're going to try to fly under the radar with all of these foreign donations from all of these other governments as the Biden crime family. And we're going to put it in as small little donations. So hopefully that doesn't raise any alarms. Well, Act Blue did the same thing, raising money. It is the fundraising arm of the Democrat machine. And there's a lot of questions about how much of this money is coming from here in America. Is there some hot and bothered need to give a bunch of Democrats money? No, I don't think so. I don't think that there's enthusiasm for anything that the Democrat Party is doing right now. Where's the money coming from? Well, it's coming from dark donors overseas. From Neville Singham, maybe from George Soros, from the Open Society Foundation, from a number of various places. But there are laws, right? There are rules and there are laws. And the Democrats have lied via Act Blue, lied about safety guardrails they are supposed to have to ensure that donations they're receiving are made sure to be not foreign. They've got to give U.S. passports data if they're going to give money. Well, it turned out, of course, nobody was doing that. Of course not. The whole thing was a big ruse, and it's just a big money dump. It's a place where all of the money can go, and Nancy Pelosi or whomever the puppeteer is then disseminates it to all of their various candidates. That's how these campaigns get funded. This isn't some grassroots, I feel it in my bones, and now all of a sudden I'm going to start volunteering and giving money to the Democrats. They're not worth supporting. And I think more and more people like Alan Dershowitz see this. So here's this article from the Daily Wire. 5 employees of the Democratic fundraising platform Act Blue invoked their Fifth Amendment when questioned by congressional investigators refusing to answer any questions. The witnesses were called to testify as part of an investigation into whether Act Blue misled Congress about its safeguards against foreign contributions. There were no safeguards. They lied about safeguards because you're about to hear coming up from Ken Paxton, who had one of his attorneys there in Texas make a donation to Act Blue that should have been flagged and should have been asked for validation that the giver was a U.S. citizen, and no such guide rails exist. So we'll be talking about that momentarily. So according to committee officials, the 5 employees invoked their Fifth Amendment rights 146 times, right? So imagine any of these House Oversight Committee hearings. They're like, all right, we're going to call in these witnesses. Tell us what you know, what you don't know. Who are you? Did you do this? They answered nothing. 146 questions. 146. Nope. We're not even simple questions. When did you work at the Act Blue offices? Or did members of Act Blue's legal and compliance teams leave Act Blue after the 2024 election because of the platform's inability to prevent fraud during previous election cycles? Got nothing. No answers. A joint report obtained by the Daily Wire from the House Administration, Judiciary and Oversight and Government Reform Committees alleges after President Trump took office, after he won in 2024, there was apparently this mass exodus of Act Blue legal and compliance staff. They were like, see you later, I'm quitting. Why ever would that be? The report also says one Act Blue attorney appears to have been retaliated against by Act Blue executives for blowing the whistle. I want you to think about how many people have to be involved in what literally is the number one conduit through which Democrat candidates for political office receive financial backing. Without it, they're dead. There's nothing. All levels of Democratic candidates, from incumbent presidents to school board aspirants, use Act Blue to raise money from online donors. The platform, think about this. Think about how much Kamala Harris blew, how much money she blew through in those 107 days. Almost $1.5 billion. It's like it's funny money. It's like it's not real. The platform Act Blue has processed nearly $19 billion in contributions since its founding in 2004, building a donor database with millions of credit card numbers that is unmatched in American politics. Nearly 23,000 candidates and groups used the site just last year, and they raised $1.8 billion from, it says, 52 million contributions. Okay, 52 million contributions. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that this country has 300,000 people, 300 million people rather in it, all right? So they're getting 50 odd million donations a year. You mean to tell me that 1 of every 6 men, women, and children in this country who have been counted by the census give to Act Blue? Does that make any freaking sense to you whatsoever? No, it's not possible because it doesn't happen. There's no kumbaya, pass the hat with the Democratic Party. People aren't like speaking on the street, excited about what's coming. Nobody's giving money. Where is it coming from? It's coming in from overseas, from billionaires, deep state aficionados who want to destroy America, who want to see Donald Trump basically thrown in prison for the rest of his life, and they've tried it. All the while, they get to fly under the radar and not answer basic questions. So I want you to hear Ken Paxton. So the Attorney General of Texas, who's running obviously for the Texas Senate seat against Cornyn, he's now suing Act Blue after one of his colleagues, he had one of his lawyer friends. He's like, hey, Phil, how about you make a donation to Act Blue? And we'll have it come from, we'll see if they're asking you for proof of U.S. citizenship. Here's Ken Paxton. He's taking them to court, and court means discovery, and discovery is bad news for Democrats who think they can plead the fifth.
The Biden administration did not pursue anything against Act Blue, and they continue to raise money. So then, of course, more recently, there was testimony in front of Congress by some of the Act Blue lawyers acknowledging that Act Blue had lied to Congress. They had not disclosed some of the problems with their fundraising, including potential using straw names and using names that were not matched to the actual donors, and also potential foreign investments, which is also completely illegal. So we actually tested it. We actually had my attorney go online and test it, and we were able to make donations without fully disclosing who we were. So we know the site's they're raising money inappropriately. So we have now sued them. We're going to use discovery to try to understand more fully how big of a problem this is.
So they're called illegal election donation mules. And this is something that we've known about for years. I found this article from 2023. The Gateway Pundit published several reports on the inexplicable phenomenon of Democrat donation mules, or Smurfs. These donation mules are making thousands of donations, adding up to millions of dollars by unemployed Americans to Democrat politicians and liberal PACs. Gateway Pundit reported on donation mules in Georgia for Raphael Warnock and in Missouri to Act Blue. In fact, there are donation mules in Michigan. So these are fake people whose identities have been stolen, through which foreign money is weaved through, acting as though it came from the local people. Donation mules in Michigan donated $11 million to Gretchen Whitmer in 185,000 separate donations from unemployed seniors. Do you think that there are 185,000 unemployed seniors in America that would give money to Gretchen Whitmer, let alone in her state? It's going down, ladies and gentlemen. The funding apparatus of the DNC. Oh, I hate to celebrate, but what the hell? Hey, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, do you guys still believe justice is blind? Andrew Cuomo is getting away with, I believe, might be the crime of the century. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So Native Path Collagen, something I've been using now for a couple months, and something like I said to you, I mean, I started it because of, to be honest with you, this creping of my arms, of the skin on my arms. And I started doing some research. I'm like, what is that? I noticed it just one day, and it happens. It's just sucks. And it said one of the ways to fight that, and also to boost the sheen of your hair, the strength of your nails, and the clearness, the clarity of your skin, is to take collagen. And I was like, what? So it honestly also helps you with your weight. And it kind of makes sense because collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and protein is what keeps your metabolism fired up, your hunger in check, and your muscle intact when you lose fat. So that's a big deal. If you are losing weight and you're not taking collagen from Native Path, this is a really important message for you. It's such a cheap, flavorless, easy thing to add to your day. And you just dump in a scoop of it into these are the collagen peptides. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. It's literally super affordable, up to 45% off for Wendy Bell Radio listeners. I love them at Native Path. But you're going to see the changes in your body. You're going to start to feel some changes. 100% grass-fed collagen peptides, no fillers, no junk. It's third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting. It dissolves right into your coffee in the morning. No taste, no clumping. Thousands of customers report better joints. That's big. Better joints, better skin, better sleep, and real support for weight management. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. They're great. And whenever I ask for a product, I'm like, hey, can I have it's like this huge box, and they send me like a candle and a coffee mug, and yeah, they send me a coffee mug, all this stuff. I'm like, aw, they're sweethearts. Good people. So Act Blue, you guys. This is this is same. It's the same strategy of the Biden crime family syndicate, right? We're going to put it out there in a lot of dizzying components. Nobody's going to be able to want to collect all or connect all those dots. It'll be so time intensive, and they'll just be like, whatever, and move along. Well, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Disgraced they are, my friends. Disgraced. Why would you plead the fifth, Brock? And it was their lawyers. It was all the lawyers who were pleading the fifth.
Because you're guilty.
It's almost like you're guilty. Tell me you're guilty without saying you're guilty.
I plead the fifth.
That's it. This story I had to compartmentalize, or else I would fly off the handle and be super fussy. 2.5, guys. That's the magic number that we're hoping you can help us get. 2.5 thousand rumbles by clicking that button.
And we're less than 1,000 away from hitting 89,000 or 90,000 followers.
Yeah, if you go under the video box, click the thumbs up button, and then just hit that follow button. All you get is notified when we go live. That's it. We leave you alone. Is talking to a couple young people in their early 20s at an event for my boys' Catholic high school over the weekend. They had this big fundraiser, this annual auction, and the money raised goes towards scholarships for boys at this school who can't afford the tuition. It's called Fund the Mission. They look for $50,000. I think we raised $218,000. It's a lot of scholarships. Significant. I was talking to a young couple next to me. One where the boy was a graduate of this school and the young lady was his fiance. They were young, only 23, 24. And we started talking about some of the struggles that they'd gone through just because of COVID. And I looked at the young lady and I said, don't ever forget what that was like. Because someday you're going to be a mom. And you're going to fight for your kids the way I fought for mine. Don't you forget. And she said, I'll never forget. Well, the Supreme Court apparently doesn't want to weigh in on this one. It's a lawsuit against former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo for charges of wrongful deaths of COVID nursing home patients. It was a despicable, loathsome chapter in American history where bad actors made bad decisions and got hysterical and saw it as a great big power grab, a way to wand wave and emergency mandate us into oblivion. Supreme Court says, yeah, I'm not going to listen to this case. Here you go. The Supreme Court on Monday declined to review or revive, rather, a wrongful death lawsuit that had been rejected by the lower courts against former Governor Andrew Cuomo over his controversial COVID-19 era nursing home policy. Well, the guy lied. The guy fudged records. He fudged data, right? He had the gall to win an Emmy Award for his quote-unquote performance for his live COVID press conferences, all the while putting COVID-positive senior citizens in New York State nursing homes. My goodness, whatever could go wrong? Well, it just so happened that a bunch of other nitwit Democrats, i.e. the governors of New Jersey and Connecticut, and here in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, all decided to band together and do the same thing. Hey, if we're all going to suck really big during COVID, let's make sure we do it together. Therefore, everybody is beyond and above reproach. Well, thousands of people died because of that. In its Monday order list, the High Court denied certiorari or appeal of the lower court's rulings in the lawsuit against Cuomo by a gentleman in Brooklyn who blames Andrew Cuomo's policies for his father's death in 2020. And how many of us have stories like this? The Supreme Court doesn't erase what was done and the truth of what happened. This gentleman, Daniel Arbini of Brooklyn, said 9,000 COVID positive patients were forced into nursing homes with deadly consequences, he said. He said he was disappointed with the High Court's decision not to revive the case. If they did, I would imagine you would see a bevy of lawsuits all over the country. And you know what? There should be. But there never seems to ever be justice when it matters to you. In New York, 14,450 senior citizens died in nursing homes. 14,000. In Pennsylvania, it was 12,565. And we had a tranny Secretary of Health who failed upwards into the Biden administration, who moved his own mother out of assisted living or out of a nursing home in the woman's 90s because he knew what was coming. Ladies and gentlemen, New Jersey, 7,969 nursing home deaths. In Massachusetts, 8,647. Those 4 Democrat states alone, together, killed 44,000 nursing home patients between 2020 and 2021. That is the equivalent of the population of Bristol, Tennessee. Gone. And not Andrew Cuomo or Dr. Richard Levine or Gretchen Whitmer or anybody else, Tony Fauci, seems like they will ever be punished. And I'm not okay with that, gotta be honest. I'm just not. Well, it was a grand conspiracy, and the Steele dossier is the unfortunate smoking gun. The DOJ announces former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGenova taking over the Russia collusion. Hey, John Brennan, you sphinctered yet? Ought to be. Next. What bad decision making. What piss poor. What buffoonery. What abject stupidity. It is indefensible. Indefensible. If the High Court had agreed to hear the case, it would have been a who's who race to the bottom to see who the biggest jerk was who killed our parents and grandparents. And meanwhile, he was just feeling up and trying to bang all the chicks in the office. Super duper. Anyway, other than that, everything is going swimmingly. I want to tell you about GhostBed, ghostbed.com. Okay, I'm going to read the actual ad I'm supposed to read, but I can tell you, oozing out of this, Michael's sleeping on it tonight for the first night. That ghost bed. He's flying into town. This is it's a queen size, full size hybrid mattress from ghostbed.com/Wendy. That /Wendy is nice because it gives you an extra 10% off. Make sure if there's a place to put, it's your promo code Wendy, right? You're going to get the 10% lower than the already low prices of the spring season. But I love this idea. Let's build you a mattress. Let's give you a sleeping system that is part of your overall health and wellness. It's not just a place where you zonk out or where you lie down to regroup. This is part of your everyday well-being. And they treat it that way, and they treat it with the seriousness. And so the gentleman who is the guy behind the company who created the mattress because he couldn't find any that was good for his neck, for his surgeries and problems he had, he's like, look, try our mattress, give it 101 nights, sleep on it 101 nights, and if you don't love it, we'll take it back. I was like, what? Like if you're a hot sleeper, you toss and turn, or you feel everything when whomever gets into bed with you and you're like, oh, then you're up, right? That's not what this mattress is. This is going to change your world. Ghostbed.com/Wendy, American made, big deal to us, and great people. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Love them.
Do you think Ghostbed would stop my dog from snoring?
Oh, does he snore?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Murphy doesn't really, but he does have wild dreams. I like watching him, and he's like,
oh, he doesn't. Sinatra does that
on
too.
the ground, yeah. And then if I touch him, he's like, ah.
Well, don't touch him.
Well, maybe I want to. Oh, you're a good boy. Let's see how you are, my beautiful
Murphy.
friend.
Who's a good boy?
It doesn't work anymore because I'm like, you're such a dumb dog. And he's
Really?
like,
no. See,
he
the dog isn't
world-class
dumb. He knows there's
stupid.
no consequences.
I need you to be the pet doctor guy.
No,
So
I'm just saying.
Not the pet doctor, but the pet whisperer. What's that guy's name? Caesar Milan or something like that?
That has nothing to do with it.
Okay. Whatever. So I'm digging Joe DeGenova. I paid attention to him peripherally, but not a lot. And then this old clip comes back from, I think it was Real America's Voice. I think he's talking to Steve Bannon. I forget who he's talking to, Joe DeGenova. Former U.S. attorney, attack dog for President Trump during his first impeachment. And he's been out front and center against Brennan and the grand conspiracy that was hatched in the Oval Office. Basically in January of 2017, days before President Trump took office. They hatched this plan. And Joe DeGenova has the goods. He's got the goods. And the DOJ under Todd Blanche, moving faster than freaking Bondi was. Where did she go? Talk about somebody I haven't thought about once. Right? No, I haven't.
That's because you haven't seen her on Fox News every other night.
Fox News alert.
Whoosh, Pam Bondi's back.
Pam Bondi's back. And you're like, is that really breaking news? Right? I don't really think so. What's up going on, you guys? Tell me what's going on. Let's see where
Apparently
you are.
The rumble button is broken.
Oh.
Yeah, we're only at 228.
We need to get.
Can you guys if you haven't hit the rumble button, hit the rumble button to see if it's working. Is it going fast for you?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1:30.
Yes. I have to go to the bathroom. So Tree Holland says, good morning, Wendy Bell Radio. Welcome to your Common Sense show. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're not talking about my Newsmax show because I'm not there anymore. Just here with you. Good morning, Pissed Off 247. Hey, A. Zoldsman. Hi, Griffin Lady. What's going on, baby? Hi, Grand Meows 22. And Ruth. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Familex and Andy Butler. Cuomo, what a turd. Honestly, what an absolute zero of an individual. You egoist schmuck. Took the Guido out of Gavin Newsom and added some New York to it. Turd.
Tell us how you really feel.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. You guys, this grand conspiracy thing is no joke. It is no joke. And if John Brennan isn't sphinctered to be able to cut a diamond, he's gonna be. And his number one arch nemesis right now is a gentleman by the name of Joe DeGenova. A lot of you don't know who that is. I had to do a little bit of a dive on him. I'm not too schooled. I know he's an attorney. I know he is in line with President Trump and was part of his team in the first impeachment. Isn't that so sad that we've got chapters of life based on garbage that the Democrats did? You've got your J6 chapter, right? You've got your 2020 fake election chapter. You've got COVID, that whole mess. And then there's impeachment 1 and impeachment 2. And then we tried to kill him, right? And then that whack job in the woods and nobody could see him. Oh, right? Or at the golf course, what have you. It's ridiculous. But apparently this new acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, is no joke because the Justice Department is now turning to former Trump attorney Joe DeGenova to spearhead a probe into ex-CIA director John Brennan and others over the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation as the department reshuffles leadership a touch of the sprawling inquiry, right? What did they do? They alleged that Trump broke all of these laws, that he was blah, 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 yada, yada, bada bing. And then they brought in this Jack Smith hack to do all this stuff and Bob Mueller and all these investigations. Over what? Over what? Over wasted time and allegations they made up because they weren't depending on you voting for Donald Trump in 2016, period. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has tapped DeGenova to serve as counsel overseeing the matter, putting a former Trump attorney in a key role in the high-profile probe. A federal grand jury seated in Miami has been impaneled since late last year. This is going to happen. The Department of Justice confirmed the move to Fox News, but declined to comment further. So who is this guy, Joe DeGenova? He's a former U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., represented Trump during special counsel Bob Mueller's investigation. He repeatedly accused John Brennan of misconduct tied to the origins of the Russia probe, allegations that have not resulted in criminal charges. Not yet. He also said in a 2018 appearance on Fox News that John Brennan colluded with the FBI and the Department of Justice to frame Donald Trump. The origins of the Russia investigation have been the subject of ongoing scrutiny by Trump allies who have argued that intelligence and law enforcement officials improperly launched the probe. It's like, you know this. You guys have all those details. But I want to dial you into Mike Davis. He's the founder of the Article 3 Project. And he's like, look, this former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGenova, he is the Republicans' Jack Smith, just not dirty. He's digging into all things Russia, and John Brennan knows it.
I love this. I love this that they're panicking on the left. Joe DeGenova is going to be our Jack Smith, and these leftists praised Jack Smith for many years. They said if the grand jury indicts, there must be probable cause, and if the jury finds the defendant guilty, they must be guilty. We're just going to use what these leftists said during the lawfare against President Trump. We're going to throw it right back in their face. And the great thing about Joe, again, he's 81 years old. He doesn't need another job. His kids are raised. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need fame. He doesn't need fortune. He's going to investigate. He's going to bring indictments if there are crimes that he finds, and he's going to throw people in prison. And I would say to people like John Brennan, if you did nothing wrong, then you have nothing to worry about. But in the meantime, you should probably lawyer up.
CBS News. This just in. Witnesses in criminal probe of ex-CIA Director Brennan subpoenaed to testify before grand jury. You don't say. Former senior intelligence and FBI officials who are cooperating with the U.S. Justice Department's criminal probe into whether former CIA Director John Brennan lied to Congress were subpoenaed over the weekend to testify before a grand jury in Washington, D.C. The subpoenas went out shortly after the Justice Department appointed conservative Trump ally Joe DeGenova to formally take over the criminal investigation into Brennan after the career prosecutor handling the case was removed late last week. Genova, staunch loyalist of President Trump, who previously represented his campaign in its failed efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. It wasn't that they were trying to overturn the results, you clowns at CBS News. They want everybody to see what happened so that it cannot happen again. The same way the Navy taking out that ship in the sea as it's carrying all of the materials for weapons of mass destruction is all about President Trump displaying to the world, don't tell me that Iran isn't a malevolent, evil actor. They want to continue making bombs and missiles and everything else to kill you. Any questions? Joe DeGenova is like, look, it's clear President Trump was the victim of a dark plot to deny him his rights. We found this video. I don't even know when this was. This is probably, I don't know, hopefully within the last year. Not sure. But this is Joe DeGenova himself as the new Russia collusion, attack dog here. He's like, look, you can't forget what happened in the Oval Office in January 2017, because that is the linchpin of this whole grand conspiracy. Here's Judge Geneva.
I wrote a memo for the administration early on, which I sent to the White House and to the Justice Department, which I never got a response from them about, which bothered me immensely because it showed the lack of seriousness and organization. It is very clear that President Trump and private citizen Trump was the victim of a brazen plot conspiracy to deny him his civil rights, both as a candidate in 2016, as a private citizen thereafter, and as a candidate in 2020. The most shocking thing to me is that there has been no discussion whatsoever of the famous Susan Rice memo on January the 20th, 2017, which she sent to herself, establishing that on January 5th, President Obama, Vice President Biden, John Brennan, Clapper, the director of the FBI, the DOJ Attorney General, met in the Oval Office and discussed an investigation into the incoming president of the United States. And the only thing Barack Obama could say was, do it by the book. This, to me, goes into a criminal conspiracy against Donald Trump. You may not be able to indict Obama, but he should be named as an unindicted co-conspirator along with Susan Rice.
So these former senior intelligence and FBI officials who are cooperating with the DOJ's criminal probe into whether former CIA Director John Brennan lied to Congress, they got subpoenaed over the weekend to testify before this grand jury in Washington, D.C. These cooperating witnesses scheduled to appear before the grand jury as soon as this week. Many of them have been cooperating with the probe, were already scheduled to sit down for interviews with FBI agents and prosecutors before the new grand jury subpoenas came out over the weekend. Although the witnesses are agreeing to meet voluntarily with DOJ investigators, CBS News gleefully reports that does not necessarily mean their testimony will help advance the department's criminal case. Well, God forbid we should expect anybody to put their hand on the freaking Bible and repeat after me and think about telling the truth, right? The decision to abruptly reschedule these voluntary interviews from cooperators and ask for in-person grand jury testimony is unusual, legal experts told CBS. Customarily, such interviews are conducted outside of the grand jury, and agents later provide details from them to grand jurors about what the witnesses told them under oath. The move could be an effort by DeGenova to use every avenue possible after grand jurors in Washington, D.C. have increasingly declined to indict targets in cases that were widely perceived as politically motivated. No, what's politically motivated, CBS News, you news record of suck, is that you guys weaponized your offices to go after a duly elected president of the United States. And you created a grand conspiracy to not just destroy his presidency, but to destroy his life. This is called exposure. This isn't revenge. It's not retribution. It's not weaponization. It's identifying these suck actors and carving them out of the conversation. And Geneva continues. He says, look, Democrats are now doubling down on dirty. And any official who's come out saying they're going to get Trump after he leaves office, or whether get Trump if he loses the midterms, you better watch out.
We now have seen a series of attorneys general and local prosecutors like Larry Krasner in Philadelphia make statements that they're going to, quote, get the president after he leaves office. You've heard people like Hakeem Jeffries and others make statements like that. This is very disturbing. It's unsettling in a democracy. But here's what the Democrats are doing. They're doubling down on dirty. They started the lawfare against Donald Trump in 2016. They have continued it to this day. He has not weaponized the Justice Department against them. He's investigating the crimes that they committed against him and others. And what the Democrats are going to do, or they say they're going to do, obviously, if they take the House, they're going to impeach the president. They're going to try to, at least anyway. I don't think they'll ever be able to convict him in the Senate. But the bottom line is this. When I saw the other day that Kash Patel and Susan Wiles had their phone records and other things seized by the FBI, and the thing that gave it away that it was dirty was when they said that Susan Wiles' lawyer consented to the monitoring of the call. I knew that was a lie. Yep. No lawyer would ever consent to a conversation with his client being monitored by the FBI. And now we know that he has categorically denied that occurred. That was a federal crime. That was the FBI illegally monitoring a private citizen. This is just the beginning of it. The grand juries for this need to be endless, and they need to start tomorrow.
Back to CBS, the probe into Brennan was sparked by a referral from the Republican-led House Judiciary Committee last October over allegations that John Brennan, lied to Congress about the CIA's role in crafting the intelligence assessment into Russia's efforts to meddle in the 2016 presidential election, which we all know is garbage. In the referral, Rep. Jim Jordan, the committee's chairman, claimed that in 2023 testimony, John Brennan falsely denied that the CIA relied on a dossier prepared by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. We didn't do that. What? Steele what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, maybe John Brennan needs to go on the beach, just like Comey did. He'll find seashells in the sand. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, well, the press is the Democrat Party's unindicted co-conspirator. Do you guys hear that 250 journalists are trying to boycott the White House Correspondents' Dinner because President Trump's going to be there? Oh, boy, buckle up. It's next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Yeah, I think the batteries need changed.
Okay.
Yeah. They do.
Is that better?
Okay, give me a second.
Is that better?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Why
Okay.
don't you go to the bathroom?
It's all right. I'll wait until the top. WendyLovesGold.com. WendyLovesGold.com. Hey, gold is down $95. Silver is back down to 77, right? Remember when these things shot up? Discover the secrets to financial stability with gold, shipped right to your door free of charge. No confusing PDFs. You can call them right now, 855-927-5557, and say, hey, can I please have a free wealth preservation guide? Well, you can also go to wendylovesgold.com right now and plug in your name, your phone number, and your email, and they'll get in touch with you. This is something you're going to want to talk to somebody about. They are so knowledgeable. And I think one of the things that sets apart Texas Bullion Exchange from other gold sellers, if you will, is the way they educate you, the way they listen to what your goals are, what you want to achieve with your investment, and how they can help you achieve those ends. They help you set up stuff for kids, your children. They'll set up an IRA for you. They'll do all sorts of stuff for you. WendyLovesGold.com. So 855-927-5557. And you know, they say, and this is true, the darker things get, the brighter gold shines. And it's true. Gold has long been considered a reliable store of value during periods of great economic volatility, right? And instability. And historically, gold has demonstrated stability as a hedge against inflation. So since 1971, you know the drill. Dollar's lost 90% of its value, but gold has gained 7,000%. What a great thing to get into. WendyLovesGold.com, 855-927-5557. If you can't tell, I love them. They're wonderful partners to us, and I'm so grateful to them. How's everybody? Let's see what we're doing. Let's see what our numbers are here. 242. Okay, we're on pace. You guys are doing really, really well. And maybe it's because I'm not nagging you. We want Wendy. Dee Bev says, well, I'm here, babe. I'm here. Thank you for telling me about the echo. That's always a sign that, oops, we need new batteries. Fastest 2 hours. Hi, Al. Al Good Cool. He's the one who crunches all of our numbers. So say hi to Al Good Cool. He's good. He's a sweetheart. This story is disappointing to me as program. You know, this is as lame as Democrats singing stupid songs, right? Why do they have to sing dumb songs? They're always dumb. And it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for people who feel like they need to be a part of some list, some letter writing campaign. Over 250 journalists sign letter demanding forceful protest against Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You know, if you need any definitive proof that this dude is right over the mark, you're seeing it every day. They go haywire. He drives them crazy. He forces the left to support unsupportable things. Just ridiculous thing. He has the left supporting the freaking Iranian terrorists. Are you kidding me? And the media are hook, line, and sinker. They're co-conspirators. unindicted at this point, but everybody knows exactly who they are and what they're doing. How obnoxious. How about you shut your mouth, put on a tuxedo or a nice dress, and go sit with the president of the United freaking States and feel blessed and honored to be a part of history in the making, because that is what you are, media. 250 of you snotty little brats who think you're really actually important, and you're not. You're not. You're a bunch of narcissistic, insecure turds who just resist all day long, and I'm so tired of it. I'm so over you. I feel bad for you. I just do. What a shame. It's like 51 former intelligence officers swear Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. Yeah, about that. Sucker, right? 17 Nobel laureates to say that inflation's not going to be transitory or whatever. Oh, yeah, how's that? You know that when you sign your name to one of these lists, we immediately judge you, because for 250 of you to join a list, it involves us believing that any of you has any credibility so that we would be impressed. Let's read. More than 250 journalists, including Dan Rather and Sam Donaldson, have signed an open letter demanding that the White House Correspondents Association turn this Saturday's dinner into a stage for a direct, forceful confrontation with President Donald Trump. The letter, sent to the White House Correspondents Association Monday, calls on the organization to use the podium at the 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner to deliver a forceful defense of freedom of the press and condemnation of those who threaten that freedom. No, see, we don't threaten that freedom. We just want you to tell the freaking truth. And there's a difference. That makes me so angry. You know who's very calm about it, who's a lot more poised, as I just lost my bananas? Trace Gallagher he does his own little Common Sense segment, and he does it over on Fox News, and he's like, yeah, common sense tells me that if you're a feckless journalist signing this, and all you have is resist, that you're telling everybody that you're a card-carrying member of the propaganda wing of the Democratic Party.
Some journalists are about to dip their toes into no kings territory. They are organizing to oppose President Trump. But instead of taking to the streets, they are taking to the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner to ask the White House Correspondents Association to make the president feel unwelcome. The same president who normally doesn't attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner because he's not made to feel welcome. So 250 journalists signed a letter saying they believe the president is a threat to freedom of the press. Turns out they don't like him suing media outlets. They don't like him calling reporters names. They don't like him. Prominent names on the list include former ABC journalist Sam Donaldson, former CBS anchor Dan Rather, who in 2004 held his own presidential protest when he screwed up the military service record of George W. Bush. And speaking of free press, it seems the press was free to cover the Biden administration censoring the media during COVID. The press was free to cover Joe Biden's mental acuity and free to cover 10 million illegal immigrants crossing the U.S. border. So much for freedom of choice. So Common Sense is just asking, are they fighting Trump to keep a free press or using a free press to keep fighting Trump?
So what do you do if you are President Trump? Do you go? Do you go knowing full well that these journalists, so-called hacks, are going to create some kind of a scene? Oh, I say absolutely. Let them hang themselves. Let them show how unbecoming they are, because that will be their natural habitat. And they'll be fueled by the brazen familiarity of being together in a room of suck with each other. The president can stand there like a gentleman and likely take it and expose to the world, like he's exposing to the world about Iran, the clear and present danger that the media put us in. Interesting. When we come back, hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends. Elections, rigging elections. Well, it's as easy as rigging the poll questions. Let's go to Virginia. Buckle up next.
We can go over this again. I can't fix the audio until a break. That's it. I hear it too, but I can't fix it till a break. Mr. Black Dog, not everybody knows. You said we know. Well, apparently not everybody knows. So I'm just telling you. If you are in Virginia, vote no today. Apparently, turnout is really favoring the red counties. I think people are just tired of it. Nick Sorter saying rural counties in Virginia are seeing huge turnout in the redistricting vote today. VA sources tell the Daily Wire polling stations are presidential level busy. I think that's where you see how frustrated people are when you're seeing presidential turnout numbers, because we know that the midterms and local elections don't really bring people out. Why, I have no idea. But if you're seeing high turnout in Virginia at presidential levels right now, people are pissed.
Well, let me ask you guys, and this is sort of where I was going with the monologue. When you realize that you come to a place of your own, of your own making, and you have to accept where you are and realize that you wish that maybe other things had happened differently, but you have to own where you are. You have to own, like Alan Dershowitz. I owned that I have to watch my party become more anti-Jewish and be more threatening to Jews. And I can't be a part of that, right? More and more people, if Trump goes to this White House correspondence thing, which is a hand job. I mean, it really is sort of whatever it is, what it is, beg your pardon. But you know what I mean. If he goes, he exposes all of the people. If anybody tries to act like a whiner or a pain in the neck, it looks terrible. It's not about you. You're supposed to be covering the news. You aren't supposed to be making news. You aren't supposed to be crafting narratives. You're not supposed to be putting forth fake dossiers, right? You're not supposed to be lying every day to the American people. It pisses me off. That's why I appreciate Blood Flow 7. As much as the Jags get you down, I keep fighting and it's great. Bloodflow7.com from Juvenon. This is a game changer. I'm going to say anybody in their 40s and beyond, I think everybody would benefit from it. But specifically, as you start to feel like you wind down, that you're not as strong as you used to be, or you're not your endurance is kind of poopy, this is the jam, bloodflow7.com, because its secret is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes the arteries, the blood vessels, so more blood can get through every side of your body, up to your brain, down to your toes, and every place in between. There is an accompanying product. So that's Blood Flow 7. This is what I take. 2 capsules a day. It's less than $1 a day. It's like $24 or whatever with our coupon, Wendy 30. Or just go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy and everything's 30% off for you. And this is the one for men, Alpha Gold Male. And your body is different. You need testosterone. You need help keeping your testosterone up. And it wanes over time, as you well know. It leads to a bunch of things. Well, Blood Flow 7 for men, it's a big deal. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I love the company. Duh. I love them. All right, what's going on, guys? Let's see what's happening comments-wise. 220. Okay, I'm interested in your perspective on this one. What would you do if you're Donald Trump and you know that they're going to try to make a scene, or there's 250 people and they're going to try to be obstreperous, boycotting you or being malignant at you at this White House Correspondents' Dinner? If you're President Trump, do you go or do you stay home? What do you think? What would you do if you were President Trump? Would you go and just grin and bear it and let them hang themselves? Or what? Go in the comments section. I'm curious about what you guys think. Oh, I need to put more. Let's see. Sort by like, sort by newest. That's what I need. How do you go to the bathroom that fast with overalls on? I am so good. I've been wearing overalls since I was 2. I can be like whoosh, 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 in no time. Let's see. Oh, I appreciate that, Scott Monroe. Wendy is great. I prefer fabulous, but okay. Like, what would you do if you were President, Brock? Would you go?
I'd go just to piss them off.
Right? Because you don't want to give them the victory. I wouldn't. The stuff going on in Virginia, though, it's extraordinarily purposefully misleading. Purposefully. The question on this ballot, purposefully misleading. Unfortunate. You would not go, Kurt says. Norma says yes.
They should want them there.
Hugo, or take a Hugo. If I was President Trump, I wouldn't give the press the time of day. But he needs to expose them. Kathy says, of course she would go. Let them go crazy. His presence will drive him nuts. I agree. And Mama J4, he likes to troll them. So I think he goes with the plan. Gotta go. Yeah. I would go, Maggie.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I'm going to read to you right now the ballot question that is causing a conundrum for voters, and it's designed to do that in the Commonwealth of Virginia today. So what Virginia wants to do is essentially go from a state with 11 electoral seats and representatives, right? So you're going to go 6 to 5 Democrat Republicans, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. They want to redistrict. So there goes 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. So they would gain 4 houses in the seat. And quite frankly, they could easily, with the help of Virginia, flip the control of power in the House of Representatives in the midterms. That's what's at stake. And then what happens, because you've got John Thune, that schmuck, who refuses to nuke the filibuster or do one of anything. And by the way, Mike Lee, where's all the crowd, you guys? Where is the senator crowd who's going to stand up and say John Thune is not the right person for the job? Where are you people? Doesn't it take 5 of you to call for the removal of the leader of the Senate Majority Leader? Isn't that how it works? Well, where are you? Because we haven't heard anything about the freaking Save America Act. It's like that was just pomp and circumstance. Yeah, well, everybody else does that whole tell us that you're a citizen and prove to us that you are, but it seems so extreme and discriminatory here. It's ridiculous. This is the question on the ballot in Virginia. Tell me if you have any idea what this means or how you would vote for it. It's a proposed constitutional amendment. Question: should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections, while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? That's gross. So you're going to throw in fairness as you're going to gerrymander, and then you're going to admit we're only going to do this for this critical 4-year period, and then after that we'll go back, swear to you we're going to do it. I promise, of course, yes, we'll go back to the old way, but this way we have to restore fairness by fiddling with the maps for Congress, even though the people of Virginia voted for an independent commission to make those lines, sort of like California. And then Virginia's going to be like, yeah, well, we really don't like that. We really don't want Donald Trump to win, and or his people to win. So we want to flip the House, and so we can endlessly resist and investigate and impeach and spend more of America's money. I really wonder if what is coming for America, if we're just slightly behind Iran. And listen to me try to explain this. Iran's already been through the war. The people there have been killed, hanged publicly. There is no dissent allowed. There are no weapons. There is no pushback. You're not allowed to speak freely as an individual. There is no free press. They live like captives of tyrants. And so now Trump went in and blew a bunch of it up. And the Iranian people are saying, finish the job. Is this what we need to see? To see after the midterms, if they do take back the House? To see the circus? To see them scramble to do whatever they can to destroy this president? Is that what it's going to take for the American people to rise up and come out of their homes and take back their streets? Will we? I don't know. This poll question, though, sucks. Should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections? Well, what's unfair about the way it's drawn right now? What's unfair is that you people allowed Donald Trump to be elected again. And this is them coming back at you and being like, oh, yeah? Suck it. This is Senator Tim Kaine, who is dumb as a box of hair. But he's going to come on and he's like on with Shannon Bream, who's dumber than he is. She gives no pushback as he lies. He says, well, you know, it's about fairness when Democrats gerrymander. It's about stolen elections when the Republicans do it. He says, you know what? We need to gerrymander because Trump is going to meddle in the upcoming election like he did in the other one. What did President Trump do to meddle? He simply said, there's no snowball's chance in hell way that decrepit, feeble, cognitively challenged, at best, Joe Biden got 81 million votes. In no world. Whatever you're smoking, it's clearly affected your ability to reason. And so he said it needs to be investigated so that it does not happen again. He stood there as like the lightning rod example. You see what they did to me? If we don't fix this, it's going to keep happening. It makes me think about 10 years ago when Donald Trump told you exactly why he ran for president, right? Here is Senator Tim Kaine on Fox News explaining why Trump is evil, and so therefore they need to change the rules under the guise of fairness.
Listen, let's talk about the last vote there in Virginia, the presidential vote. Vice President Kamala Harris won by about 5 percentage points. So the state is relatively split with a left lean, but 90% of House members from Virginia being from one party?
90% of Virginians are not Democrats. That's true.
Correct.
But about 100% of Virginians want election results to be respected. We're deeply worried that Donald Trump will try to interfere with the election results this November or in 2028 because we saw him do it before.
First of all, Shannon could be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Sir, you're not allowed to lie. She should have done what Leslie Stahl did. Mr. President, this is 60 Minutes. We're not allowed to say things like that on 60 Minutes. And he was like, go ahead and investigate it, you turd. She offers no pushback. And he's like, well, he's going to cheat. We need people to honor election results. We don't honor things that are stolen, Timmy, my boy. You certainly aren't advocating that we would certify things that are fraudulent. Because that would make you a criminal. And I'm sure that's not what you're saying. He continues. He says, look, let's let the voter decide whether they want a Congress that stands up to Donald Trump. And the only way we could do that is if we rig this system in my state so that we can get our way.
We're deeply worried that Donald Trump will try to interfere with the election results this November or in 2028 because we saw him do it before. And we have to have a Congress that will stand up to it. In 2021, all 5 Republicans in Virginia went along with Donald Trump in his effort to overturn election results. And so we're giving Virginians a chance to vote, which Republican states have not done, about whether they want to have a congressional delegation that will stand up against Donald Trump's tyranny.
Now, see, this is a perfect opportunity for Shannon Bream, if she was worth a lick of salt, to counter with, Senator, it's so interesting that we're talking about fairness and all that. Tell me, why haven't 29 Democrat states complied with the federal government's request to provide all of its voter roll data? Because that's still so curious. Is that fair? Is that about transparency and all that? How's that working for us? And tell me why. What are you so afraid of, Senator? She could have said a number of things, said nothing. But you know who did? Later was Britt Hume. He's like senior analyst. He's been there for a bazillion, gillion years. This is not a Trump sycophant. This is not a, red, white, and blue striped Republican Party flag waving member. This is a kind of a crusty old political eye. And this is what he had to say. He says, it's plain and simple election rigging, what Virginia is currently doing today. Listen.
The one thing this is not an effort to do is to ensure fairness. It is done to ensure that Democrats have many more seats than they do now. And it's an interesting process, Brett, because Virginia, unlike other states, actually had a system set up to take redistricting out of the hands of the politicians, and it gave it to a bipartisan commission split down the middle between the two parties so that there wouldn't be any of this sort of monkey shines. But states that didn't have such commissions, such as Texas or such regulations, were redistricting between the 10-year cycles that are normally customary for congressional redistricting. So Virginia decided it was forbidden to do so by this commission system they had enacted, that they want to undo it with a state constitutional amendment, which is what people are voting on. But it's very confusing because the messages being sent say, both sides are saying we're trying to restore fairness. Fairness isn't really what it's all about. It's about power, and the Democrats have some, and I think they're in a position to get more.
So let's just review. I mean, what have we just kicked around today? Democrats don't have money. So they relied on foreign dark money donors, illegally giving money to Act Blue, which was then disseminated across all of the Democratic candidates. Well, if that gets shut down, first of all, they're screwed. But secondly, they realize they physically cannot win. They will not win in the midterms unless they do what they're doing to Virginia. Unless they cheat, unless they rig the system. We're only going to do it for 4 years. And then after, we'll go back to that independent commission. Well, why do you have to do it now? Donald Trump is such a threat. No, you realize that you suck. Nobody gives you money. You've got lousy candidates. You have no message. And your party has turned to the left cliff and jumped off of it. Other than that, I'm sure everything's great over there on the DNC side. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Congress needs more than spring cleaning. Apparently, it needs an overhaul. Congresswoman Nancy Mace with the knives out for Corey Mills. Get him out, she says. I'll tell you why next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Okay, so tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. I want you to go. I have so enjoyed everything that I use from Tulip Blooms. I have definite favorite things. They tend to be the oils. I have them all over my house. I've got the Blue Calm face oil upstairs in my bathroom. I have the velour massaging oil downstairs in the kitchen next to the kitchen sink. I have the velour massage oil here, and I have the Blue Calm face oil in my car. I'm double dipping on every front. I love this product. I really do. I think it's just absolutely special. And you don't have to buy it for someone else. You can buy it for you. And I think you will absolutely adore it. I have. Sorry, this is going to be curious. The Soothe, when you go to tulipblooms.shop/Wendy, go to the part that says, well, you're going to see the boxes. They have Mother's Day boxes, and they're super smart in giving you a percentage off based on how many different products you put in your Mother's Day box. So if you want 4 items, that discount is higher than if you only want 2. Order soon. Put in your order soon, because it probably takes, I'd give it a good week to get there. And here's why. This is a young couple with young children, and they're running this wonderful business. At the same time, they're raising their family. So I would presume at night they're putting all this stuff together so that you and I can have these very special boxes of the most decadent skincare products I've ever used. This is my favorite, the Velour Massage Oil. It says massaging, but I'll tell you what, it's just one of those things that offers nourishment for your hands, your feet, your elbows, your abdomen, your heels, whatever it is, it seeps in and it's fantastic. Give it about 5 minutes and it absorbs pretty well, so you're not kind of like leaving oily marks everywhere, but it is special. Speaking of special, here's Brock.
Wow.
How'd that work?
It didn't.
It didn't work?
That went over like a ton of bricks.
No. So I can't tell. I think the overarching vibe on the correspondence dinner is that he should go and have a good time and basically make them devolve into the sniveling turds that they are, right? Kinda.
I think it's the self-importance.
Oh, yeah.
It gets me.
Sam Donaldson and Dan Rather. Hey,
Yeah.
you guys are so not important. Nobody gives a fat lip who you are, right?
Dan Rather, do your job. Maybe you should have done your job better. Maybe you should start with that.
The deep state was alive and well a long time ago, right? Those guys are card-carrying members of it. Let's see how you guys are doing. I'm so excited. They've done really great today. 2.6.
We'll stop. Don't ruin it.
Ruiner.
Ruiner.
I don't ruin, you ruin.
Wow.
And that song does it for me all the time. You know, you guys, we have slogged through so much here and we still have a ways to go, but you've been in this race for a while. And I think every now and again, we need to stop and take a step back and take a look at what we've learned and how much our knowledge of politics and the corruption has grown, how much more savvy you are and how much more reluctant you are to believe things at face value. I mean, this is triumphant. It truly is. It feels like you're running through a flippin' swamp with oatmeal in it. I get it, but holy cow. Well, this is big and it needs to happen. I don't care who you are. If you're a member of Congress, you are expected to behave at a certain level. And it's not the debauchery, fraternity, hammered all the time, womanizing, dirtbag, cheater variety. You represent 340 odd million Americans. Well, Representative Nancy Mace, she says, you know what? It's time to do some spring cleaning. We've cleaned out a couple people. Working on Ruben Gallego. We'll see what he ends up doing. But she says, you know what? It's Corey Mills. She moves to oust Representative Corey Mills from Congress. And I got to say, if the allegations against him are accurate, he absolutely needs to leave. And I know that we have a numbers game and we've now down to the wire, but should you be able to allow people who behave in an unbecoming way to be in those positions? I don't think so. So, Nancy Mace introduced a resolution yesterday to expel Representative Corey Mills from Florida, Republican from Florida, from the House of Representatives over allegations of domestic violence, sexual misconduct, stolen valor, and profiteering from federal contracts as a member of Congress. Mills has been under investigation by the House Ethics Committee, apparently since November, when an effort by Nancy Mace to censure the congressman failed, and the slew of allegations against the Florida Republican were referred to the panel. Remember how they did this swap when they were like, hey, we're going to vote to censure Ilhan Omar. And they were like, no, we're going to vote to censure Corey Mills. No. And it's like, oh, you guys did a give for a go when both are probably dirty. The swamp has protected Corey Mills for far too long, and we are not letting it slide, Mace said in a statement. We tried to censure him and strip him from his committee assignments. Both parties blocked it, but we are not backing down. White House Ethics Committee has yet to release its findings in the Mills probe. Mace argued that the evidence against the congressman is overwhelming. Let's walk through a few things. She accused Mills of beating women and telling them to lie about it, cyber stalking women, lying about his military service, and profiting off of his seat. Any member who votes to keep him here is voting to protect a woman beater and a fraud. She's not farting around here, ladies and gentlemen. So what's this guy been accused of? It's not good. I remember holding him in high regard just a few years ago when he was reportedly flying people out of Afghanistan, right? There were Americans left behind during that botched withdrawal and 13 service members, right? He's been accused of exaggerating or misrepresenting his role in overseas rescue missions, including events in Afghanistan and the country Georgia, and of making broader false claims about his military record and valor awards. Representative Mills allegedly presented himself as a key figure in evacuating Americans from Afghanistan in 2021, telling media that he personally led a ground-based rescue of a woman and her 3 children from Taliban-controlled territory. Now, there's a problem with that. Critics in some reporting point out that the State Department describes the evacuation of those same 4 Americans without mentioning Corey Mills at all, raising questions about how central his role really was and whether he has overstated his involvement. What is it? Is everybody insecure? Does everybody need a pat on the back? Does everybody need to be told that they're special? Does everybody need to know you're a star so they make up garbage? How could you do that? I agree. Clean house. And it sucks that it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be down to a numbers game. It's going to be down to election night. This is what these people have done to us. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the left throws a wrap-up smear Hail Mary, but Kash Patel catches it in the end zone. The story next on the Wendy Bell radio network.
That Sheila.
Yeah, McCormick.
Yeah, she just resigned.
Yeah. How do you see? My same thing is to an illegal alien who's been living in this country for 20 years. What took you so long, right? My same thing to Sheila Phyllis McCormick. You didn't know that using FEMA money or COVID money to finance your congressional campaign was not what you were supposed to do?
She should have to give it back. Like, she should have to repay that.
Like, are you serious? Yes, 100%.
And I don't care if it's liquidate everything you own.
100%.
You shouldn't just get to resign. I don't know. Maybe she does.
Same with Fonnie Willis.
All of them. I don't care who you are.
How about Sniper? What's going on with Sniper? Disinfect with Sniper. I'm going to tell you what. If you have a front-loading washing machine, honest to goodness, clean the thing out. I mean, I know that they have those tabs that will be fizzy inside and they do some disinfecting and whatnot. But you know as well as I that rubber seal gets funkalicious in a hurry. It's so gross. I took paper towels and put my fingers in them and went like that through it and was like, ugh. So once I got all the goop out, I then sprayed it down with Sniper. The greatest hospital grade, though completely safe to spray in your mouth. I don't know how it's possible, but it is. I spray it on my face sometimes. I love it. It smells clean. If I'm outside and I'm sweating, I might come in and be like, psh, psh, psh. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And it kills all these bacteria, and mold, and fungal infections, and parvovirus, and MRSA. And
just think if you had that when your kids were younger, you wouldn't have to put soap in their mouth.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. This is it. This is all you need. This is all you need. Unless, of course, you need some organic pest control, in which case that's called Harmony, but it's the same site. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
You have to keep the deer away from your hosta.
I'm telling you, all of this stuff. So I'm glad you reminded me because I need to go out and spray again around it because they've started coming out of the ground more.
Do you want me to just come dig up the hosta?
No, thanks. No, I'm pretty sure I'm good without it. Brock was going to try to make a funny, but it wasn't funny, so I didn't take the bait.
You just did.
I didn't. I moved right past you. See me ignoring you?
Did you?
That wording of that question really...
It bothered me.
It's really bothersome. To ensure fairness. Well, what's fair? Is fair to you cheating to stop Trump? Because that's not fair to me. Maybe we have different ideas of fair. Sounds like it. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, you guys. Let me read this to you. Hey, Wendy and Brock. You guys have been my daily companion since the days of the BS board. My Rumble handle is DCJ. Okay. In the early days of our relationship, I was living in Poland. So you two were part of my dinner time routine. Now that I've returned to the Wild West, Washington, you are my breakfast guests, usually delayed viewing. All that to say, I could quote your longtime advertisers. Recently, I convinced my friend of more than 40 years to see Dr. Simkovich. I traveled the 2+ hours from Sequim, Washington to SeaTac to meet my friend and accompany her to Pittsburgh. My friend has been in 3 serious car accidents, which have resulted in debilitating concussions. When we arrived at the Simkovich Concussion Institute, we weren't sure she'd be able to be treated. My friend nearly broke into tears when Dr. Simkovich shared his diagnosis and said he would start the treatment immediately. It's now a couple weeks since we arrived home. My friend testifies that she can see clearly. So much so that it shocks her every day. The headaches that have prevented her from enjoying her grandchildren are gone. She's convinced that he addressed issues she has had since birth. The experience was life-changing. We will be back for a follow-up. We'd love to meet you. Many blessings. Denise from Washington. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Simkovich Concussion Institute.com. Get healed. What are you sending me? It's going to hurt my feelings. Yeah, this one dude who's on the UFO committee, he's, forget what his name is. He confirms that the U.S. military is in possession of a massive unidentified craft that is, quote, Eric Burleson. It's too big to move. So he reveals the Army built a military base around the UFO. Where? It's got to be kind of like nowhere, right? So apparently rural country or counties in Virginia are seeing huge turnout in this redistricting vote today. I don't know if they can program, bouncing back to these 250 so-called journalists who are butthurt that President Trump won re-election. And so they're making it their life's mission to resist, to tell you stories of awfulness about this guy, to give you every bad take, every twisted turn possible to sully this guy's reputation. The man who single-handedly is destroying the largest nemesis on planet Earth. And journalists are like, I don't really think that we should go to the correspondence dinner. I think we should boycott it. Whatever. Shut up. Maybe if you guys started doing some reporting that was worth a lick, we wouldn't be here. Well, I want to read you a little blurb. It's behind a paywall, and because I love you and I'm fabulous, I pay for a subscription for this suck magazine called The Atlantic. And that is where this journalist, if you shall, this chick named, what's her name? Sarah Fitzpatrick, who's now being sued, which is brilliant. She put out a little story, a hit piece on Kash Patel, FBI director. The FBI director is MIA. Kash Patel has alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences. Right. Okay. Let's read this together. You guys pay attention and tell me what strikes you first. On Friday, April 10th, as FBI Director Kash Patel was preparing to leave work for the weekend, he struggled to log in to the internal computer system. He quickly became convinced that he had been locked out, and he panicked, frantically calling aides and allies to announce that he had been fired by the White House, according to 9 people familiar with his outreach. 2 of the people described his behavior as a freak out. Okay, so this is the picture. He's trying to get into his computer. He's not getting in. And they say, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired as director of the FBI. Call somebody. Earl, get in here and fix it. That's what they're saying. Right? And you're like, it seems like kind of an odd thing to lose your mind about. Patel oversees an agency that employs roughly 38,000 people, including many who are trained to investigate and verify information that can be presented under oath in a court of law. News of his emotional outburst, it's now a marketable outburst. She's hearing hearsay. Nobody's coming on the record. No evidence. This is just people close to it said, well, this is what we saw. And so now she's marketing it. She's like, well, his outburst doesn't sound very good, prompting chatter among officials and in some corners of the building, expressions of relief The White House fielded calls from the Bureau and from members of Congress asking who is now in charge of the FBI. They want you to believe that Kash Patel's a raging drunk. I haven't gotten any evidence of that. And the evidence that they present in this article is all unattributable hearsay. That's kind of a big deal. It turned out that the answer was still Patel. He had not been fired. The access problem, two people familiar with the matter said, appears to have been a technical error, and it was quickly resolved. It was all kind of ultimately BS. One FBI official told me. Who? But Patel, according to multiple current officials, who? As well as former officials who've stayed close to him, who? Well, they're so deeply concerned that his job is in jeopardy, right? He has good reason to think so, including some having to do with what witnesses described to me. Who? As bouts of excessive drinking. My colleague, Ashley Parker, and I reported earlier this month that Patel was among the officials expected to be fired after Attorney General Pam Bondi's ouster on April 2nd. We're all just waiting for the word that Patel is officially out of the top job, an FBI official told me this week. Who? And a former official told my colleague, Jonathan Lemire, that Patel was rightly paranoid. Who told Jonathan that, Sarah? Who? It's one paragraph, 4 allegations, all unattributed to people who may or may not exist. So they're trying to say that Kash Patel is a drunk and he's about to get ousted. I don't know about that, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't heard anything. But I do know that he's pissed. So pissed that he's filing a defamation suit. And it ain't a small one. $250 million, Kash Patel is firing against Sarah Fitzpatrick and The Atlantic. How dare you? FBI Director Kash Patel Monday filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic and its staff writer, Sarah Fitzpatrick, over an article alleging its claims were false. In a lawsuit filed in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, Patel stated the magazine and Fitzpatrick published the article with actual malice, despite being expressly warned hours before publication that the central allegations were categorically false. Also, despite having abundantly publicly available information contradicting those allegations, despite obvious and fatal defects in their own sourcing. This cannot be the state of journalism. This cannot be the state of news where I can say anything I want about anyone and go out, deliver it on somebody as though it's a scoop, and have that feckless journalist run with it, merchandise it, right? Put it out there, legitimize my complaint, and then you know what's going to happen? Donald Trump's FBI director is a worthless drunk, right? That's your midterm ad. This is all fodder. The lawsuit that Kash Patel filed stated that the defendant's conscious decision to ignore the detailed, specific, and substantive refutations in the, I guess the Atlantic sent him a letter and was like, this is what we're going to say. And he's like, well, all of that's categorically false. None of that happened. And they're like, well, suck it anyway. We're going to do it. And that shows, Kash Patel argues, malice. And it is a high threshold. Well, I want you to hear Amy Klobuchar because it took no time for the wrap-up smear to be merchandised. Here's Amy Klobuchar saying, well, you know, on CNN, she's like, oh, this is what this administration does. It attacks the whistleblowers like The Atlantic and the suck journalism and sues them in court. Well, or we go after people who make salacious allegations that we say are categorically false. Listen.
The FBI Director Kash Patel, he's filed a lawsuit today against The Atlantic over their story that I know you saw, Senator, which alleges that he drinks to excess, he has unexplained absences, doesn't show up. It was damning. CNN hasn't corroborated some of the anecdotes and episodes told in the article, but Patel just responded to it on Fox News. Here he is.
I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Senator, you're on the Senate Judiciary Committee, so in that role, you oversee the FBI. So if this reporting holds and Patel does not step down, it would seem this is a national security crisis. Can anything be done about it?
Well, we must have an immediate hearing with Kash Patel. If he says, see you in court, I think he should also say, see you in the Judiciary Committee. I obviously didn't support him. We had a very testy back and forth in my questions of him. But I think it's not a surprise that his response, instead of either resigning or instead of giving his facts out there, he attacks and sues in court. This is what this administration does. There's a constant attack on journalism and the media, and it's time and time again, these suits by Donald Trump and others are ultimately thrown out.
If Aaron Burnett were worth any salt, sort of like Shannon Bream isn't over on Fox, right? She'd say, Senator Klobuchar, the lawsuits, though, some of the suits that he's filed and has won, have been about selective editing of things that have completely twisted what he said out of context to sully his opportunities to win re-election. Don't you believe that that is a threat to the American people? She'd be like, I'm sorry? What was that? Yeah, that's called pushback. It's called pushback. See, they're trying to not just sully this man, Kash Patel. And I can't tell you if he's a drunk or he's not. But if you can't provide one clip of video, or you can't provide someone willing to go on the record to be like, oh yeah, he sent me this picture of his such and such, right? He was hammered when I was with him. Look, I've got proof. Don't come out there with a hit piece that's so obvious. And when Wolf Blitzer has to rely on Brian Stelter to tell this story, you know it isn't a story. Here you go.
The FBI director, Kash Patel, is suing the Atlantic magazine for $250 million over an explosive story that alleges his colleagues are concerned about heavy drinking and unexplained absences.
CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter is here in the Situation Room. So what do we know about this lawsuit, Brian?
Yeah, this defamation lawsuit charges the Atlantic with actual malice and seeks $250 million in damages. Patel vowed to sue in the hours before this article came out on Friday. So now this morning his lawyers are following up, filing this lawsuit in D.C. and really, performing what Patel knows his boss, President Trump, wants to see, a very aggressive response to these charges in the Atlantic. Now, the lawsuit says that sentences like this one from reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick are false. Here's what Fitzpatrick wrote. She said, several officials told me that Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. They said that he is known to drink to the point of obvious intoxication. The lawsuit says that Fitzpatrick article falsely asserts many things about Patel, including that, quote, he is a habitual drunk, unable to perform the duties of his office, is a threat to public safety, is vulnerable to foreign coercion, has violated DOJ ethics rules, etc., etc. So the lawsuit goes through point by point and says that all these charges against Patel are false, and it says the lawsuit charges that the Atlantic published these statements with actual malice. Those two words are the key in any defamation suit. Actual malice is the very high legal standard that public figures have to prove in order to win a defamation suit.
Now, the tragic part of all of this is that look at what they did in the Oval Office in 2017, hours before President Trump was set to move in for his first term. They made up a fake story about him being a Russian asset, an agent of Putin. But we should totally believe this about Kash Patel. Got it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Anonymous drops kind of an apropos today video for us about communism. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. That's the alarming part to me. Like I read the article and it goes through, like each paragraph is someone close to the such and such, another source, a blah, blah, blah. Each paragraph has like 4 anonymous, not sourced allegations. And it's like, You can make up anything that you want and make it true and put it out there and have once trusted organizations that long ago weren't trustworthy run with it and destroy someone.
I made this analogy to you this morning. That would be like me saying, I'm friends with Sean Parnell, and them quoting me, and I could say whatever I want.
Such a great point.
Someone close to a senior official
In the administration
in
told
the
us.
administration.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Told us that Sean Parnell is a raging drunk who often doesn't show up for work. And when he does, has spots on his tie. And you're like, what?
It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. And they act with such indignance because if they didn't act outraged, they'd have to laugh at how preposterous the play is.
If you are given the opportunity to print the truth or at least put his take on it. Let's say, once again, like you, I don't know if Kash Patel's a drunk or not, but if he gives you and says that's false, blah, 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 and you don't print it, he's right. That's malice. You're not telling the story.
I gave you the preemptive no. You chose not to run any of my statements. And beyond that, why was he not in the office? I've seen Kash Patel in a lot of locations.
This just tells me something's about to happen.
I've seen him in Minnesota, right? We've seen him in New York. We've seen him
Nevada.
in DC. He's been all over. It's the job of the FBI director, right? So why
He's about to drop something.
Patel?
It has to be. They have to discredit him. If they know he's gonna drop something, they gotta. The only way they can get ahead of it, he's a drunk.
Well,
And they use the same thing. Hegseth, drunk.
Yeah.
Everybody's a drunk. But Mazie Hirano,
Yeah.
slurring through
Yeah, 100%.
the Senate.
Who's doing coke off of hookers' butts?
Yeah, Nancy's teeth falling out.
Except you guys. How are we doing?
Don't look.
Stop. They did really well. 2.72.
That's a participation.
You know what?
ribbon.
No, you guys did great. You did really, really well. And I appreciate you weighing in because when you hit that button, it matters to us. Thank you.
Oh, wait. What? Someone said, yes, Brock. Dan Bongino said something's going to happen. That's the only thing it can be. Like, I don't,
We've got to put
I'm sure
out
Dan
something.
Bongino knows, but you don't have to be Scooby and Shaggy to figure out they're going after him at a specific time. Out of the blue, he's now this raging alcoholic. Out of the blue. We just found out he had a cocktail Tuesday.
What?
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, Earl,
please.
get in there.
I might have been born at night, but one last night. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. All the cliches that go, something, he's on to something if they're putting a story out like that.
Hit me with your best shot.
Yeah. It's so obvious now. It's you don't need to be Dan Bongino or inside the administration to figure it out. Like, it's this obvious. You know what I'm going to play.
Program. This hit piece on Kash Patel on the Atlantic. See, this is what Democrats, this is the whole definition of the whole sanctimonious do-goodery of idiocy, right? They're so sanctimonious when they're pretending they're doing something good, except what they're doing is stupid and everybody knows it, right? That's what that phrase means, the sanctimonious do-goodery of idiocy. That is what this Atlantic piece at the end is all about. They're like, we really just care for his well-being. We worry that Kash Patel might be a danger to himself. I mean, what if he gets behind the wheel and he's drunk? It reminds me exactly of what the deep state did to freaking John Fetterman. Remember when his hack former chief of staff, Adam Jendelson, raised serious questions about the senator and his mental health? And so in 2024, Jendelson wrote, he was chief of staff for Fetterman at the time, he wrote a letter to his neuropsychiatrist at Walter Reed, guy who's in charge of the program. And he's like, look, I'm really worried about John Fetterman. He's on a bad trajectory. He's got erratic behavior. He might be a danger to himself or others. And then he published it. He shared that with NBC News, and NBC News ran with it. John Fetterman, he's a danger to himself. No, John Fetterman's very lucid. He seems to see exactly through all of your BS. Here's Anonymous. We've talked about this before, 1963, reading the communist goals, 43 goals, into the congressional record in the United States. I want you to hear how many of these communist goals have already come through to fruition.
It came from a former FBI agent, a man who studied how communism might infiltrate America. He warned that subversion wouldn't come through war. It would come through education, media, culture, and law. So Congress entered his list as a record, as a warning, and maybe as a blueprint. Current communist goals: capture one or both political parties in the United States, use court decisions to weaken basic American institutions, get control of the schools, soften the curriculum, infiltrate the press, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures, degrade American culture through meaningless art, eliminate laws governing obscenity by calling it censorship, infiltrate churches, replace revealed religion with social religion, discredit the Constitution, discredit the Founding Fathers, present American culture as backward and oppressive, promote the United Nations as the only hope for mankind. That was 1963. They didn't say how it would happen, just that it could. Now here we are, decades later, and what used to sound like conspiracy reads like a checklist. So ask yourself, if these were the goals, who's been doing the work? My friends, we are all anonymous, and we were warned.
And of the 45 communist goals that were read into the congressional record 60 years ago, how about this one? Number 35, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Right? It says infiltrate and gain control of more unions, infiltrate and gain control of big business. Transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. Emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. And create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, or social problems. Right? It's almost like they've done all of that. And again, the one guy standing up to stop them, Donald Trump. So I see very clearly, ladies and gentlemen, what's at stake, what's at risk, what's on the line, and what is promised ahead in the golden age. I'm delighted that you've been here today. And I hope you come back tomorrow. You want to do it again? Duh. See you same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody. Love you. Peace.